Saints, no better backdrop for college football than right here in Atlanta. Today, we gather again for the 113th home opener at Bobby Dodd Stadium at Hyundai Field. Your Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, coming off a thrilling opening win over Colorado, are back here in the white and gold as they take on the 1-0 Gardner-Webb Running Bulldogs. Welcome inside our Al Seraldo radio booth alongside my broadcast partner, Andrew Gardner, our sideline reporter, Chris Mooneyham, our network statisticians and spotters, Al Seraldo Jr. and Adam Prater, studio host Justin Hanover, network engineer Isaiah Stewart. I'm Andy DeMatra, and it is our pleasure to bring you Georgia Tech football on the Georgia Tech Sports Network. After Georgia Tech completed its first undefeated home schedule in 25 years last season, hoping to pick up where they left off against what will no doubt be a feisty Gardner-Webb team that overcame a 28-point deficit in its season opener. The largest come-from-behind win in school history in a 52-45 road win over FCS number 19, Western Carolina. Out comes Brent Key, and out come your Yellow Jackets. Wearing the new gold uniform tops tonight, the white numerals, the white pants, the gold GT with the white interlocking GT on each side, gold helmets with the white interlocking GT. Because of this 33-minute weather delay, they're going to have about a 10-minute warm-up, so all massing together in rows in the end zone to our left, trying to get that circulation going back again. Andrew Gardner, and then it's on to football. And throughout the week, Brent Key was very scrupulous about not even mentioning Gardner-Webb by name. And that was not to slight Gardner-Webb. He certainly respects the challenge they'll pose today. But the point Brent was trying to make to his players is it doesn't matter the opponent. You have to treat every opponent equally. It's about us. It's about delivering the best version of Georgia Tech that we can over these next 60 minutes. And that should have Georgia Tech's fullest attention. They knew, for as thrilled as they were to come back from Colorado with the win, they played far from their best football. There's a lot on the to-do list today, and they'll see if they can get it all done.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that will take that as a slight when you say it's not about them, it's about us. But it's always that way. You gotta handle you. You can't control if that's Gardner-Webb over there. You can't control if that's an NFL team that walked over there. You got to play the team that shows up. And all you can do is play your assignments, play with good technique, great effort. And that's what he means. It's not about them, it's about us. If we show up and do what we're supposed to do, you control what you can control and give yourself the best opportunity for success.
Georgia Tech 39-2-1 all-time versus FCS opponents. They knocked off VMI at home last year, facing the Gardner-Webb Running Bulldogs out of the Big South OVC Conference, a merger of those two leagues at the FCS level, so they could still retain an automatic bid for the football championship subdivision playoffs. Both quarterbacks for these teams won their respective conference player of the week honors. Haynes King for Georgia Tech, his fourth career ACC quarterback of the week award, and Nate Hampton, not only Big South OVC player of the week for his performance versus Western Carolina, he won FCS national player of the week as he accounted for 395 total yards and 6 combined touchdowns, 2 passing, 4 rushing in that 52-45 win over Western Carolina. We'll take one more timeout, coin toss, and then those 3 sweet words we can all say together, Toby's Leather. It's Georgia Tech and Gardner-Webb, and it comes up next on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
One of the toughest jobs in law enforcement is telling a family that a loved one has been killed by a drunk driver. That's why Georgia law enforcement works every day to keep drunk drivers off the road. Every DUI arrest could be one less family to lose someone to drunk driving. You can help. Hand the keys to a designated driver or call a ride service. It saves lives and prevents a costly DUI arrest. Drive sober or get pulled over. Brought to you by the Governor's Office of Highway Safety.
Georgia Tech football begins ACC play Saturday, September 13th at noon versus the Clemson Tigers, presented by Renaissance Bank. Enjoy the free pregame concert and festivities starting 4 hours before kickoff at Hell of a Block Party driven by Hyundai in the heart of Midtown Atlanta on North Avenue. Tickets start at $65. Get your game tickets and more information at RamblinRack.com. Sting 'em.
More than intelligent, it's thoughtful. Not just spacious, it's sensuous. And along with the sure-footed all-wheel drive, the GLC SUV is now available as an efficient, effusive, and effective plug-in hybrid. Get an exceptional offer on the 2025 Mercedes-Benz GLC 350e 4MATIC SUV. Just $429 per month for 24 months with $54.73 due at signing, exclusively from RBM of Atlanta in Sandy Springs. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this vehicle and many other models during the RBM of Atlanta's fall sales event, now through September 30th. Special lease rate available only to qualified customers exclusively from Mercedes-Benz Financial Service through RBM of Atlanta, Sandy Springs through September 30th, 2025. Excludes tax, tag, title, and Georgia lemon law fees. Contact RBM of Atlanta for details on this and other exciting offers. Visit us at rbmofatlanta.com or call us at 770-390-0700 for details.
Green.
Hey, it's Los. Enjoy the game and then join Tug and I every weekday morning, 6 to 10 on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3 and the Extra 106.3 app.
Now back to the field for more Georgia Tech football, driven by Hyundai on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
Georgia Tech back home after a season-opening win, now trying for a home-opening win to follow it up as they take on the Gardner-Webb running Bulldogs for a second time in school history. Gardner-Webb under second-year head coach Chris Reiser, who moved up from the Division II ranks. He was head coach at Tiffin University in Ohio for 5 years. Led them to their first 2 Division II playoff berths in school history, 4-8 a season ago, but they did finish 3-3 after starting 1-5. Played one FBS opponent last year, and the Charlotte 49ers were unable to defeat the 49ers in that contest, and taking on Georgia Tech for the first time in 17 years. Georgia Tech wearing the gold uniform today. Gardner-Webb is in the road whites, red numerals, black pants with a stripe of white, red, white down the sides. And I think also, Andrew, it helps that Georgia Tech has so many transfers in his program who moved up from the FCS level. We heard about Malachi Holsley and heard from him in our pregame interview. Kanan Spalding, Jai Gilmore, actually both played versus Gardner-Webb when they were members of Tennessee Tech in the Big South Conference. You got Braden Manley, who actually Mark Mercer played in the playoff game versus Gardner-Webb in 2023, and I think it only helps to have those additional voices in the locker room to articulate to their teammates that, hey, this is a team that can't be taken for granted, that can't be taken lightly.
I think that's absolutely correct, Andy, and a lot of those names you just said, I mean, those are players. Those are guys that are playing big minutes and making plays for Georgia Tech, and it just keeps the level of respect appropriate for the opponent. You can't take them for granted. There's guys playing for Gardner-Webb right now that are legit good football players. There's guys that are going to be big-time contributors for larger FBS programs next season. And like you said, all those names you just mentioned are guys that drive that point home and help keep this Georgia Tech team focused against this team.
And there are also guys in that Gardner-Webb roster who began their careers at the FBS level, like their quarterback Nate Hampton, who's a 3-star quarterback out of Advanced, North Carolina, had offers from Vanderbilt, West Virginia, Kentucky, began at Liberty, where he unfortunately was kind of blocked off from that QB1 spot from Caden Salter, whom the Jackets saw last week as the starting quarterback for Colorado. But as he demonstrated last week, he has FBS arm talent and earned FCS National Player of the Week. Let's pause 10 seconds so our stations can identify themselves. This is Georgia Tech football.
Yellow Jackets football is on now. WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. Extra 106.3.
Before our captains make their way out to midfield for the coin toss, let's introduce the third member of our broadcast team, Chris Mooneyham. Chris.
Guys, for the second time in 6 seasons at Jackets, breaking in a brand new field turf here at Bobby Dodd as they break in the brand new Field Turf Vertex Core system, which is one of Field Turf's most widely sought after versions. In fact, studies have shown this field version cuts down on player injuries significantly compared to its predecessors. Of course, this most recent installation will continue to ensure that the Institute can continue to use Bobby Dodd as a year-round facility. For comparison, by the way, this is the same system used at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Over 1,500 NCAA athletic programs across America trust Field Turf.
Yeah, certainly looks sharp. Got that two-tone look. And Georgia Tech will certainly look to play well on it.
Well, it's a good-looking field for sure. I'm with you, Andy. I love the two-tone. And what he said about it having reduced injury levels compared to other kinds, that's music to this old football player's ears, because I had what was essentially a career-ending injury on field turf. Now, I don't know the brand or who sold it, but I think movement towards that thought process and making field turf is huge, and I'm glad to know that that's the type of turf they have out here at the Bobby Dodd Stadium.
Yeah, very worthwhile investment. Georgia Tech's captains today, all seniors: Dalen Gordon, Joe Fusel, Ryan Perbs, and Jason Moore. And if I'm not mistaken, all four of those seniors either are or began their careers as walk-ons. So neat acknowledgement from Brent Key as that quartet will soon make their way to the middle of the GT at midfield. And the honorary captain for today, number 5 from Prattville, Alabama. Boy, he caused a lot of sleepless nights from ACC defensive coordinators when he was taking snaps in the option. Justin Thomas, good to see JT walking alongside Georgia Tech's captains. Our head referee today to administer the coin toss is Art Brown. And let's listen in on the coin toss ahead of our home opener at Bobby Dodd Stadium at Hyundai Field.
All right, guys.
Gardner-Webb calls.
Georgia Tech has won the ball.
All right, so Jackets win and defer.
So we'll go the over on my prediction on how long it takes to get to 10 points, right? You got to give me the full 7.5 now.
Now, Georgia Tech needs to be sharp defensively because Gardner-Webb scored on a 65-yard touchdown run on the second play from scrimmage in its opener last week. Great to be back home here at Bobby Dodd Stadium at Hyundai Field, where Tech last year went undefeated for the first time since Brent's playing days in 1998. And you know those home openers, they bring an electricity unto themselves. These players sweltering through those summer workouts, oftentimes on this very same field, envisioning this moment where they can finally show off their wares and show off their skills in front of the home fans. And now it all finally comes to fruition in a matter of moments.
Well, I'll tell you, Andy, it's a lot more fun in here when it's rocking and rolling with all the fans than it is in the middle of August with Coach yelling in your face. All the hard work comes together for this moment. Guys are excited. The fans are rocking at Bobby Dodd. Let's get this thing started.
Aiden Burr was a perfect 5 for 5 on touchbacks last week. Lowe and Quayshawn Holmes are the return men for the running Bulldogs. Lowe actually had a 58-yard kick return last week as the Yellow Jackets all fan out. With the gold uniform tops the white pants, Burr is set to swing away from right to left. He drops the right arm. Approaches the tee, toe meets leather, and we're underway. Sends this tumbling halfway deep in the end zone, and it's taken out by Lowe. Trying to bend down right, he shakes an ankle tackle behind the 10, but forced to the sideline and gang tackled right at the 10. Take your pick, but it was a Montre Branford, the sophomore, who led the charge.
And a 15-yard mistake by Gardner-Webb's Anthony Lowe. He really should have just took the knee and getting that ball at the 25. Great coverage by the Georgia Tech special teams. An awesome way to get this homestand started.
Gardner-Webb proved last week they can chew up yards, 631 of them in the win over Western Carolina, led by 6'6", 240-pound grad transfer Nate Hampton, who spent the previous 3 years at Liberty, only appeared in 3 games. He works with one back to his left rear and Quayshawn Holmes a slot tight left. First and 10 from the Gardner-Webb 10. The quarter turn, the handoff Holmes. He tucks his chin, tries to run up the middle, but gets plugged up. No gain on the play.
And Jordan Vanderberg just being too big and strong in the middle. The Georgia Tech interior defensive line is going to have to be big. Last week on non-Nate Hampton runs, Gardner-Webb had most of his success right up the middle.
Matthew Alexander was also there to close things down. 2nd and 10. Trips out wide left. Shotgun one back for Hampton. Takes the snap, chest high, delivers it to Holmes, trying to turn the right corner, but he is pursued well and spilled up to the 14, just a gain of 4 as he tried to wrap around the right side. Braden Manley, who actually played versus Gardner-Webb in the first round of the FCS playoffs 2 years ago for Mercer, cleaned him up and sets up 3rd down and 6. Gardner-Webb last week converted 6 of 14 third downs and trips bunts along the left hash. Hampton last week was only 12 for 30 through the air. Holmes is standing tail. Takes the snap, pulls it out of his belly, pressure up the middle. He tries to scramble away up the middle to the 15, but down he goes at the 17, shy of the line to gain. Alexander squared him up, and that forces a 3 and out. It was Alexander with the pressure along with Fuller, and a good job to prevent Hampton from hitting the escape hatch.
And a great start by the Georgia Tech defense. Really well played as a team. Smart rushing. Everyone stays in their lanes, and the linebackers ready for the running quarterback to try to get it with his legs. They stay home. Great start by this Georgia Tech defense.
Senior punter is Brady Braun. 2 punts last week, but he averaged 54, punting from his own 6. Drives the right leg into it. Sends it spiraling near side. It's caught by Rivers at the 30. Jukes upfield to the 40. Splits a pair of defenders and gets dragged down at the 41. And it's good to see Eric Rivers wearing a normal-sized number and uniform, more specifically on punt return.
And looking sleek in that form-fitting number 3. A good sight for all Georgia Tech fans.
You could probably hang that number 43 jersey from the top of the pencil building behind us, and all of Atlanta could see it. So out comes Aaron Philo. He will get the start at quarterback today. We'll have more on that in a moment. He works out of the pistol with Jamal Haynes holster behind him. 3 receivers right. Takes the snap, wheels out to his right, looking for a backside wheel, takes a shot on the left side for Rivers, but he overthrows him on the deep over at the 15. He had Rivers with a step on his man, but just overshot it. So, Haynes King did go through warm-ups. It was a game-time decision, but because of a nagging lower body injury, Haynes King will not start. Aaron Philo, the 6'2 redshirt freshman from Bogart, Georgia, will. Took a shot on first down and set it 2nd and 10 from the 40. Once again with Haynes as the pistol back, coming off 16 carries, 65 yards against Colorado. A pump fake, and he is swallowed up. Ball is popped out as the hit. It's loose on the turf. A pile for it at the 42-yard line. Gardner-Webb signaling they have it, and the running Bulldogs believe they do. And it is Gardner-Webb football, and another opening possession results in a turnover from the Jackets.
Well, Andy, I can't imagine anything that would make Brent Key more frustrated than that right there. Almost exactly what happened in Colorado to get the game started. A slightly different play, but just the mesh point. Well, no, forgive me, it's not the mesh point, but just the lack of ball security by the young quarterback, and Philo gets hit by several players. The ball pops out. Looked like that was supposed to be a read option with a throw. Kind of got caught in the middle and just didn't secure the ball properly, but this defense has been battle-tested on quick change, and Georgia Tech's going to need that out of them right now.
Antonio O'Berry with the forced fumble. Georgia Tech already has as many fumbles lost as it had all of last season, so Gardner-Webb back to work left to right, 1st and 10, middle of the field at the Tech 42. Tight end flexes out, Hampton to the air, throws the out left sideline and through the hands of his intended target, Anthony Lowe at the 46. Clayton Powell-Lee was closing in on him.
And on that out route to Lowe, Hampton leaves it on the inside, which both makes it a more difficult catch and gives Powell-Lee the opportunity to smack Lowe on that catch. Not a great placed ball, but good coverage by the Georgia Tech defense.
Anthony Lowe, 5'11", grad transfer, 2nd on the running Bulldogs in catches last year. 1 receiver along the numbers right, 1 left. Holmes at bent waist beside Hampton. And off the slow mash, Hampton scrambles away to his right, turns upfield, has room down the right side, 40-35, and steers himself out for a first down at the Georgia Tech 30, following the gain of 12.
It's very similar to the 3rd down play from the previous drive, but in this instance, the Georgia Tech linebackers are not in position to get pressure on Hampton as he scrambles with his feet, an adjustment they made last week as the game went on.
He did rush for 132 yards last week. Tight end left. Lone setback to his right hip, and Holmes. 1st and 10 As he delivers it to Holmes, trying to jump cut right. Now Connor left. He gets to the edge, to the 25. A block downfield, 15, 10. An ankle tackled by Eford, but not before getting down to the 4-yard line. On a play that was designed to go to the right, was able to plant his foot in the ground in reverse field, and all of a sudden Gardner-Webb with 11:58 in the first quarter has a 1st and goal.
Holmes saw a cutback lane to his left, and the Georgia Tech defense just a little out of their lanes. I believe Andre Fuller just upfield a little too much, kind of rushing the mesh, allows for him to get underneath and kind of messes the angles up as everyone's reading the play to go to the opposite side. Georgia Tech's going to have to shore up this defense. Gardner-Webb in a strong position early in this game.
Holmes following that 26-yard gain at the left hip of Hampton. Unbalanced line to the left and movement up front as flags are tossed. This should back up the running Bulldogs 5.
It's like left guard Aaron McIver moving a little early on his pull.
Well, this was a penalty-prone running Bulldogs team last year. They were 5th worst in the FCS in penalty yards per game. They do tag the redshirt junior left guard Aaron McIver for the penalty. Backs Gardner-Webb to the 9. Still 1st and goal, 11:27 first quarter, no score, trying to capitalize on the lost fumble. Low the slot right. Chris Lofton, 6-foot redshirt sophomore, the lone receiver left. As Lowe shoots in motion. Carson Griesach is now the lone setback. Hampton bobbing back, this time pressured. Ducks away to his left, cuts upfield at the 5, bounces off a tackle, stretches for the goal line. He's down at the 1.
And Georgia Tech is getting pressure on Hampton, but what he's doing a good job of essentially is scrambling. He's looking to run very, very soon. Georgia Tech's going to have to be ready for him to try with his legs.
Up to the line quickly. Shotgun snap. Handoff. Griesach, but he's knifed down off the edge by Tay Harris. Shy of the goal line. No gain on the play. And his 3rd down. How about Tay Harris, the true freshman, flying over the right tackle, Will Fitzpatrick, to upend Griesach.
It's a big tackle by Harris. We're going to need another in this situation. Georgia Tech can hold him to a field goal or even no score. It would be huge.
Griesach flanked at the right hip of Hampton. He is a thumper. He takes the snap, wheels out to his right, floats it toward the pylon, and it is caught. Touchdown. A backpedaling catch by Anthony Lowe despite good coverage. And with 10:17 to go in the first quarter, Gardner-Webb takes the 6-0 lead.
A really nice catch by Lowe. The ball was actually left slightly inside. Again, having to turn back to it. Tight coverage by Georgia Tech, but a well-executed drive by Gardner-Webb, and Georgia Tech starting its home opener about as bad as they could hope for.
Yep, Jai Gilmore seemed like he was in phase, but a tough catch by Anthony Lowe, who had 2 touchdown catches last week. Already a 3rd receiving touchdown of the year for the grad transfer. Charlie Viarel is on for the extra point. Set down for him, booted up, and it is no good. He faded it wide right, and so it remains a 6-0 Gardner-Webb lead. Georgia Tech starting Aaron Final. We'll have more on that in a moment, but coughed it up on the second play from scrimmage on a collapsing pocket, and Gardner-Webb able to go 6 plays, 42 yards for a touchdown on 3rd and goal to take the 6-0 lead. 10:17 remaining first quarter. We're back after this on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Real Success. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at ourrealsuccess.com.
Do you want to learn how to make money flipping houses and acquiring rental properties right here in Atlanta without using your own money? You'll learn to flip houses and secure rental properties in your spare time to get on track towards real wealth building. We're offering a handful of motivated individuals the opportunity to attend our workshop right here in Atlanta for free. That's right, we'll give you 2 free tickets when you text FLIP to 64,000. Atlanta is the perfect market to flip houses and build rental income. Don't miss this opportunity. Come to a complimentary live 2-hour workshop next week right here in Atlanta and learn how to start making money flipping homes and building long-term wealth with rental properties. To get 2 free tickets, text FLIP to 64,000. Text in the next 10 minutes, and registrants will also receive a free copy of our Funding for Deals guide. Text FLIP to 64,000 for 2 complimentary tickets. Text FLIP to 64,000.
Stream Georgia Tech totally free on the Extra 106.3 app. Available now for Apple and Android. And listen to the Jackets anywhere. The Ramblin' Wreck keeps trucking along. It's Georgia Tech football on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
Gardner-Webb, the 6-0 lead. A touchdown pass on 3rd and goal from the 1. Hampton connecting with his top target in Anthony Lowe. Point after was no good. So still a 6-0 deficit for Georgia Tech with 10:17 remaining in the first quarter. Today's Potters predictions are brought to you by Solomon Brothers Jewelers, the official jewelers of Georgia Tech Athletics. And Aaron Fano took the first snaps. It was a game-time decision with Haynes King, but due to a nagging lower body injury, Haynes is dressed out, though Fano gets the start. This was the guy who was ACC Rookie of the Week for a gallant performance at Bobby Dodd Stadium in the home finale versus North Carolina State. 265 passing yards, a team-high 57 rushing yards, the game-winning touchdown. So in our Potters predictions, Andrew, he'll need to shake off that lost fumble on the second play of the Georgia Tech series. But what are your predictions for Aaron Fano and what he can do to kind of settle into the game, grow into the game, and deliver the kind of throws that we saw Aaron Fano do as a freshman last year?
Yeah, my prediction is they'll come back with Aaron and let him get some shots over the middle. You know, he really had a connection with high school teammate Bailey Stockton, and his ability to find him in the drag routes and the in-cutting digs and things like that. Aaron Fano delivers a nice ball, able to see the field well in that situation. Great young quarterback, but definitely a different dynamic than Haynes King. I anticipate them letting him throw it around a little bit, but more over the middle and less shots, just to get some ball movement, get some completions, but also to watch, probably get this jet sweep game going and let the athletes around him work a little bit.
Charlie Viarel with the ball on the tee for Gardner-Webb. 4 touchbacks and 9 kickoffs last week. He drives his right leg through it. A knuckler fading towards the far side and bounces on the pylon on the fly for a touchback. I have never seen that.
That's a first for me as well, and I've been around a few years in this game.
I mean, that's like a hole-in-one in golf.
That is an incredible kick, but about 6 inches from being a terrible mistake.
Oh, yeah. No, less than 6 inches for being an illegal kick out of bounds.
How thick is that pylon? More like 2 inches from being a bad kick?
Yeah. Jackets from right to left as we see it. You hear it in this opening quarter. Fano saunters out. We're in number 12 in that gold uniform. Has Jamal Haynes beside him. Georgia Tech 320 rushing yards against Colorado. A slot left in Stockton. Waves Rivers in orbit motion. He takes the snap, screens it left. The catch and running up the hash to the 30-35 goes Malik Rutherford for a gain of 11 and a first down. Good to see Malik Rutherford, who had his streak of 29 consecutive games with a catch, snapped last Friday due to injury, with his first catch and a first down for the Yellow Jackets as they go to the line quickly. Double tight end right, pistol look with Haynes behind Fano. The snap turns and delivers to Haynes, busting through the right side past the 40 and cut down at the 42 for a gain of 6. Jakari Bryson, redshirt junior linebacker, with the stop.
Georgia Tech offense settling in after an early mistake. Nice, easy pass to get Aaron Filo going. Good to see a good first down run on schedule, 2nd and 4. Good run there by Haynes.
Filo splits Haynes out wide, now brings in Malachi Hosley as a standing tail. Haynes in orbit motion. The clap, the snap, and the handoff to Haynes, juking up the gut past the 45, and he drives the pile with forward progress to the 46 for a first down. Kahari Haynes, Appalachian State transfer, 5 tackles last week. He got the stop, but not before that steam whistle blows, and Georgia Tech moves the chains with 9:07 in the first quarter, trailing 6-0.
Buster Faulkner getting fancy just to get the boys back to a split back look. Kind of a little triple option action in the backfield. I expect to see a different play off that same action later.
Fano triangles 3 receivers on the left. Now pushes Rutherford out wide. Slip screen. It's Patterson turning left across midfield and chopped down at the Gardner-Webb 48. First catch this season by the FIU transfer Dean Patterson, who was second-team All-Conference USA a year ago. Had 50 catches for the Golden Panthers.
Well, they run the screen play to Malik Rutherford on the first play, and then again a screen play to the left, wide receiver screen to Dean Patterson. Essentially the same play, but out of a different formation. They have that when they want it from this Gardner-Webb defense.
Haynes holster behind Fano in the pistol. Motion from Rutherford. Give to Haynes. Bounces left and gets chopped down at the line. He was trying to stutter step around one defender at the edge, but a good open field tackle by Robert Holtz, the 6th-year senior defensive end. It's no gain, and it's 3rd and 3. Georgia Tech was 6 of 11 on 3rd downs versus Colorado. Last year, 41%. That was 65th nationally. Trailing 6-0 with 7:55 in the first quarter. Again, 3 receivers triangled on the right hash. Follow from the gun. Tight end left. He wheels off to his right. Looking to turn the corner now, lofting it downfield. It is underthrown, and it's intercepted at the 12. Underthrew that, and the interception by the free safety, Wendell McClain. He was trying to take a shot toward the end zone for Patterson, but had too much air on that, and another opening possession begins with a turnover for Tech.
Andy, Aaron Philo isn't able to really get a good throw into this. The ball comes out sort of almost like a wounded duck, not quite that bad, but it does not have a tight spiral. The ball sort of dies. Eric Rivers not able to get his eyes back to it soon enough, and that ball just, falls like a shot out of the sky. An easy interception from Gardner-Webb. And the start of this game, eerily similar to the start of the Colorado game. Georgia Tech going to have to right the ship quick.
Yeah, they'll have a timeout to do so. 7:41 first quarter, 6-0 Gardner-Webb as we step aside on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
Here comes the Ramblin' Wreck. My family and I love watching Georgia Tech football. Though it's hard to choose between the big screen at home and the excitement of being in the stands. Either way, Scana Energy's part of the action as a proud partner of Georgia Tech. So join Scana and my family in cheering on the Yellow Jackets this season. Sign up with Scana today and get up to $100. Call 877-GO-SCANA or visit scanaenergy.com/jackets for details. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply.
All right. It's a beautiful day for football here at the stadium, and we're just about ready for kickoff. Score 0-0. And suddenly, I'm in the mood for a Coke Zero Sugar. Real Coke taste, zero sugar. Now that's a winning combo. Yeah, crisp, refreshing. That hits the spot. When it comes to great taste, Coke Zero Sugar's always on the scoreboard. Coke Zero Sugar. Real Coke taste, zero sugar.
Go Jackets. Hey, it's Tug. Join me and Los every weekday morning, 6 to 10 on the Morning Extra here on Extra 106.3 and the Extra 106.3 app.
From every huge touchdown to every epic stop, it's Georgia Tech football driven by Hyundai on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
Well, Brent Key last week said hard to imagine a game starting worse for him with turnovers on the first 3 possessions, but boy, this is already threatening that. 2 possessions, a lost fumble, and now an interception from Aaron Philo, who gets the start today. Game time decision for Haynes King, and Gardner-Webb takes over at its own 12. Already ahead 6-0 with 7:41 in the first quarter, although you did acknowledge in the Ramblin' Red kickoff show, Andrew, Georgia Tech's defense did a nice job last week on the sudden change. They'll try to hold the line here on this next Gardner-Webb possession.
Well, the only good thing you can say is that is essentially like a punt. If you punted down here and got him pinned this deep, you'd be happy. So, field position, good, but another wasted possession by the Georgia Tech offense.
Nate Hampton 1 of 2 for 1 yard, but it went for the touchdown. Also ran it 3 times for 23. Carson Grisak is his tailback. 3 receivers fanned out right. Hands off on the outside zone to Grisak, weaving up the right side to the 15. And a pickup of 3 by Carson Grisak, the redshirt junior, 5'11", 215 pounds. His high school coach said he reminds him of John Riggins. That is a thick neck thumper. And tailback for the running Bulldogs. 2-by-2 set now in front of 2nd and 6. Hampton stares at a 4-man rush. He motions out Grisak. Twiddles and finds the laces. Throws underneath on the slant. Juggled and incomplete. Trying to find Lowe, breaking from right to left, but couldn't make that helmet-high catch. Did have a step on Kelvin Hill, but his 3rd down.
That was a dangerous throw for Georgia Tech. If they connect there, Lowe might still be running. There's a safety there, but an opportunity to get split. Georgia Tech needs to tighten up this coverage a little bit on the back end.
Georgia Tech student section revving up behind the running Bulldogs. 2 receivers in the tight end, split right. 2 receivers on the left. Empty set for Hampton in front of 3rd and 6. Needs to reach its own 22. They now bring everybody in tight. And now brings Grisak alongside him in the backfield. Takes the snap. 3-step drop. Throws underneath. It's caught at the 20. Bouncing off a tackle to the 23, and that's enough for a first down in the second effort by Chris Lofton. Just that stop right along the hash and found the soft spot.
Lofton able to just sit in the zone. Georgia Tech not bringing him down on first contact. Would have had the stop, but got to wrap him up.
Trips left on 1st and 10. 6:44 opening quarter. Snap to the belt of Hampton. Winds up, throws left, and the out route is on the money to Lofton again. Even with the first down marker, he shoved out at the 35 for 10 yards and another first down. Daquan White was in coverage. Lofton, transferred from JMU, had 3 catches versus Western Carolina, but for a team-high 102 yards. 2 consecutive catches, 2 consecutive first down completions for Hampton, who splits 2 wide left and 1 right. Now Cole Pennington, the 6'4 redshirt junior backup, is in. He takes the shotgun snap, and off the mesh, it's Grisak working over right guard and is able to surge up to the 39 for a gain of 4. Omar Daniels spilled him. Omar Daniels, team-high 5 tackles, all solos versus Colorado, the redshirt senior from Moultrie. As Georgia Tech makes some wholesale changes on the defensive line, including Christian Garrett, the 6'4 freshman from Monroe, Georgia. He will man one defensive end spot along with another true freshman in Dre Fuller. 1 back, 1 offset, right of Pennington. A slot to his left on 2nd and 6. He goes to the air off play action. He's pressured, tries to break away, but he gets knocked down and tackled, but a flag is tossed. A loss of 2 on the play as Garrett hauled him down. The initial signal, though, is a hold against Gardner-Webb. And that might nullify Christian Garrett's first career sack if Georgia Tech accepts the penalty. And to the delight of Christian Garrett, Brent Key declines the penalty. Will set up 3rd down and 8. And Garrett from Monroe, Georgia, at a tackle versus Colorado, now has his first career sack.
It's good to see the young man, Christian Garrett, making the most of his opportunity. Already got a sack in his young career. And you see there for Gardner-Webb the difference between Hampton and Pennington. Hampton has just been more elusive and able to get away. Georgia Tech finally able to get home. They've had pressure before, but finally able to bring Pennington to the ground. This is a huge 3rd down to try to get this game turned around.
3rd down and 8. 5 wide empty set for Pennington. He waves Grisak in orbit motion. Takes the snap. He's pressured immediately and devoured up the middle. A sack back to the 30, and it was a kilo stone, like he was shot out of a cannon, leading the brigade. I think Christian Garrett will get a half sack as well, but the Jackets pinned their ears back on 3rd down and force the punt to come on.
A big plays on the Georgia Tech defensive line. Hughes just splitting the defense by a kilo stone. Great team sack. What this defense needed at that point in the game.
Braun on to punt from his own 16. Pair return men for the Jackets in Stockton and Rivers. Another knuckler toward the left hash, fielded by Stockton. Sprints up the left hash of the 40. Bounces out right 45, 50. Winding into Gardner-Webb territory at the 40. And finally steered out by the punter Braun at the 35. A flag was tossed well behind the play. Might eat into that run back. Georgia Tech at least initially begins in Gardner-Webb territory pending the flag.
And Dean Patterson doing a great job blocking downfield, giving Bailey Stockton room to work. Well, right as I compliment him, I disagree entirely, but he must have got those hands outside the framework just a little bit. If there's one thing I know about referees, they do not like great blocking.
They do not like great blocking by wide receivers. They're immediately suspicious.
They don't like it at all. They don't trust it.
So with the enforcement of the penalty, Georgia Tech will still have good field position, but inside its own territory at the 47 as we've hit timeout. 4:27 first quarter from an overcast Bobby Dodd Stadium, a Hyundai Field. Jackets trail Gardner-Webb 6-0. Back after this in the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
September is Fan Appreciation Month at Truist Park, and you don't want to miss out on the fun coming up. The Washington Nationals battle your Braves September 22nd through the 24th, presented by OnX Hunt. On September 22nd, the first 15,000 fans in attendance will receive a Ronald Acuna Jr. red carpet bobblehead presented by Truist. And then on September 23rd, it's Los Bravos Night, powered by Georgia Power. Make sure to arrive early to enjoy a live salsa band and dancing, an on-field presentation recognizing Hispanic players and coaches and so much more fun. Tickets start at just $7. And the 2025 regular season concludes with the Pittsburgh Pirates in town, September 26th through the 28th. The weekend includes a Kids Club appreciation party on Sunday featuring free face painting, special appearances, and so much more. Visit Braves.com/promos to find all the details and to purchase your tickets. Atlanta Braves Baseball. We are Braves Country.
Hey, it's Pete Davis. Glad you're here for Georgia Tech football on Extra 106.3. We'll see you weekdays at 3 o'clock sharp.
Let's get back to the Jackets. More Georgia Tech football on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
Nice job playing complimentary defense by Georgia Tech. Following the interception, they forced the punt from Gardner-Webb, and despite the holding penalty on our stat monitor, they called it against Omar Daniels, not Dean Patterson. But be that as it may, Georgia Tech will still have the ball at its own 47-yard line with 4:27 in our opening quarter, trailing Gardner-Webb 6-0. Not quite the start that Aaron Fado had in mind, with a lost fumble on the second play from scrimmage, and on the 3rd down and 3, rolling out under through a deep ball that got picked off. Following, he wants to be like Haynes King, but I don't think he wants to be like Haynes quite like this, as he'll try to shake off and lead Georgia Tech in a productive march downfield.
Well, in his young career so far, we've really only seen success out of Aaron Philo, which of course is what you want, but now getting an opportunity to see how he deals with a little adversity. He's caused 2 turnovers, and now an opportunity to show his mental fortitude and overcome those things. You said be like Haynes. Well, if you're going to do the bad part of being like Haynes, now it's time to do the good part of being like Haynes King and overcome that and make some all-conference level quarterback play.
Show that resilience that Haynes displayed last Friday in Boulder as Tech slaps hands in the lines. Malachi Hosley is parked behind Fano in the pistol, twins right, with Canyon in the slot. Motion across, and on the bootleg, Fano flips in the flat, connects up the right sideline, 50, 45, past the 40 with a block, and finally shoved out is Brent Sider for his first catch this season, all the way down to the Gardner-Webb 32, and a first down, gain of 26.
Great job by Aaron Philo. There's pressure in his face to just flick that ball out to the flat, and really heads up by Eric Rivers downfield. You go from receiver to blocker to help his tight end get another good 10 yards. Really great team football.
Sider 7 catches 2 years ago. 4 of them went for touchdowns. Haynes the lone setback. On 1st and 10 from the Gardner-Webb 32. And it's a misdirection end around. Turning down the left side goes Haynes. Winding out 25-20 with a stiff arm. Swats away a tackle and gets pushed out of bounds at the Gardner-Webb 12.
A little trickeration by Buster Faulkner. A nice reverse play. Isaiah Canyon with a big block on the left side to allow that to spring loose.
And Jamal Haynes eating up yards. 1st and 10, left hash at the running Bulldogs 12. Inside of 4 first quarter, Tech down 6-0. Pistol look, the swivel and the handoff. And this time Hosley is met in the hole and plastered. Gains maybe 1 to the 11. Malachi Hosley, the Penn transfer. He was 3rd-team FCS All-American last year, ranked 4th in the football championship subdivision at 119 rushing yards per game and 47 rushing yards in his debut for Tech. 2nd down and 9. Fano works under center this time. A receiver right, a receiver left, and Canyon along the numbers. Off play action, Fano climbs the pocket. Now darts away, throws to the back right corner. It is a catch and a touchdown. Isaiah Canyon. What a dime by Philo. And the Jackets are on the board.
As bad as the last throw, as bad as that last play was by Aaron Philo, that one was that much better. A little pressure off the right, tight end gets beat, able to avoid it, and then just drops it into the bucket on the back line of the end zone to Isaiah Canyon. Big play. Great bounce-back play by Aaron Philo.
It was over the cornerback, Q Billingsley, who got the interception. But in front of that, deep pylon for Canyon for his first career touchdown as a Yellow Jacket. And we're tied at 6, 3:07 in the first quarter. Goes for a 12-yard strike. Extra point by Burr is booted up and good. Boy, a throw on the run, having to escape the rush, and there was a little pressure in the face of Votto as well, but looped that to Isaiah Canyon, who started along the numbers left and then ran along that back line of the end zone, never broke stride, didn't need to, because, like you said, that was a perfect cast of the fishing line by Aaron Votto for the score.
Well, as great as Georgia Tech's tight ends are and all the things they do, drawing one-on-one pass protection with a defensive end is a tough draw for a tight end. Not able to hold up as long as you might like, but Aaron Votto feels the pressure, able to roll out. And like you said, Andy, on the run, puts that ball on the money. That should be a great confidence builder as this game goes. And similar to last week, after an awful start, Georgia Tech finds itself in the lead.
Second career passing touchdown for the redshirt freshman Votto. He preserved his red shirt because he only appeared in 4 games last year. Rain falling lightly, albeit steadily now, at Bobby Dodd Stadium, a Hyundai Field. Holmes and Lowe, the return men to our left for Gardner-Webb. As Bird checks right, checks left, strides to the tee, and booms this away. End over end, tumbling towards the C in Tech, and fair catch signaled for by Gardner-Webb.
Anthony Lowe thinks better after his ill-fated return earlier in the game, thinks better of it, and just takes that ball at the 25.
I did make amends by catching the touchdown.
He did. He did, but it's a great weapon to have. Burr being able to put the ball in the end zone. Good job by the Georgia Tech special teams. Like I said, a rough start offensively, turning the ball over, but other things able to keep Georgia Tech in the game. Special teams has looked good. Offense is finally coming around. Defense, 2 out of 3 drives well. Only the one drive that hasn't looked good. When they put Nate Hampton back in, which I anticipate they will, Georgia Tech needs to be ready for his legs.
And they are. I think bringing in Cole Pennington for that third series was by design from head coach Chris Reiser, and so back comes Hampton. Working out of the gun, Holmes to his left rear. He had 3 carries, 30 yards in that opening drive. Trips right for Hampton. Stooped over, hands together like he's praying. He takes the snap, gives it, and on the jump cut left goes Holmes, but he is sealed up and dropped. A loss of 3, and a good job on the edge by Daquan White, the Eastern Michigan transfer. A loss of 2 back to the 23.
A nice aggressive downhill tackle by Daquan White, not letting that ball bounce outside. It's interesting. The Gardner-Webb offense is using that long mesh when Hampton is in the game, something we didn't see with Pennington.
1 back, 1 offset, right of Hampton, 2nd down and 12. A receiver each way. Again, holds the mesh, retreats. Now drifts off to his right. Cox fires for the sideline, and a leaping catch at the 42 for a first down by Lowe. Bit of an improvisation there against Amari Harvey, and it goes for a first down.
Amari Harvey in good coverage for most of that. Just slips on, loses his footing late in the route, which allows Gardner-Webb to come loose for a big game.
2:19 first quarter, and a fresh set of downs for the running Bulldogs. Right hash at their own 42. H-back crabs and settles in front of Holmes. The snap to Hampton. Pulls the mesh and gives it to Holmes. Works through traffic up the middle before it gets run sideways and spilled at the 44. A gain of 2. Cayman Spalding, who had a tackle against Gardner-Webb last year as a member for Tennessee Tech, where his first team All-Ohio Valley Conference got the stop. Had 3 tackles against Colorado.
That was well read by Spalding, scraping over the top to get in. And also Clayton Powell-Lee coming downhill to give him a little help on that gang tackling by the Georgia Tech defense.
Hampton with Holmes. 2 receivers in tight on the right. Takes the snap. Extra rusher for Georgia Tech. A fade down the left side on the back shoulder, but it's underthrown. Incomplete. Tried to find Lofton, but he never turned his head and broke back toward the football. And I think because of the pressure, Hampton had to deliver that quicker than he wanted.
Yeah, Daquan White in phase on the coverage. Good. Kind of in the back hip of the receiver. So when Hampton tries to go for the back shoulder, there's not really anywhere for the receiver to play. Ball came out early anyway, not on the same page. Nice coverage and pressure. Good team defense by Blake Gideon's crew.
Gardner-Webb 2 of 4 on third down so far. Hampton is 2 of 4 through the air for 20 yards. He jams everybody in tight. 2 receivers to his right, a receiver and a tight end to his left. Takes the snap. A QB draw. Slips a tackle. He breaks right, but can't wind his way up the middle. He drives the pile to the 49, but only a gain of 5 and stopped well shy. Melvin Jordan on the stop. It's 4th down and call it 3.5. And it looks like the offense will stay on the field with 1:16 to go in the first quarter.
Braden Manley getting upfield, applying a little pressure, but they had the draw call on. Well done by the Georgia Tech linebackers and secondary rallying for the gang tackle. They got to be aware now for the old try to make them jump. This is less than 4th and 5. So job number 1 here is snap count, discipline, and then get the stop and rally to anything underneath.
Hampton's top receiver is Anthony Lowe. He's outside the right hash along with another receiver. H-back right and a running back to the left of Hampton. Play clock was down to 1, and Chris Reiser has to call his first time out with 42 seconds remaining in the first quarter. 7-6 Georgia Tech leads Gardner-Webb. Running Bulldogs converted their lone 4th down attempt. And they are perfectly comfortable in 4th downs, Andrew, because last year they were 21 of 36 on 4th downs. They were tied for 4th in the FCS in both conversions and attempts.
And they've continued that level of aggressiveness in the opener against West Carolina. They went for 4th down multiple times, even on the minus 32, I believe it was. Very aggressive trying to make that comeback. So it does not surprise me to see Coach Reiser go for this. And like we said before, when you're an FCS team on the road playing an FBS opponent, you got to go for broke. You're not playing, you're playing to win. I mean, you might as well roll those dice. Forget about the analytics of the situation that might still tell you to go for it here. You got to go and make some plays like this if you're hoping to get the upset. Although I say all that, and they are not going for it.
With that being said, on comes the punter, Jackson Dorr. It's interesting that Gardner-Webb platoons a pair of punters. Jackson Dorr is a grad student from Denver, Colorado, who was the holder last year for Stony Brook. Georgia Tech seeing Gardner-Webb's punting unit come on, hustles its personnel on. Brent Key said they expect maybe some gadgetry on special teams from Gardner-Webb as Rivers ranges inside his own 10. 2-man protection in front of Dorr. Takes the long snap, puts the nose of the ball down, and bangs this away. Fair catch signal for by Rivers. He bails on it at the 6, and a flag was tossed as it's down at the 5-yard line. But if this is running into the punter, this will be a first down because it was a 4th and 3.
Yeah, I think this is going to be on Jordan Vandenberg, bringing the hammer to that line in front of the punter.
Now it's a personal foul, so even worse. Well, an uncharacteristic penalty by Vandenberg, trying to bring that rush, but on a 4th and 3, that's 15 yards, and Gardner-Webb will resume the drive now inside Tech territory.
Well, it was he found himself in a weird in-between. It was like if he had been more successful in knocking that the blocker back, then you're there on time. But it's like you got Justin, or if he's less successful, you don't hit the running back. But he kind of got through, and it allowed him to just have too much momentum to stop himself. And now, 300-plus pounds a man running at a punter looks incredibly violent, no matter how hard you actually hit him.
Well, still, you can't give Gardner-Webb anything. They move it up to the Georgia Tech 37. 34 seconds to go, first quarter. Holmes, the featured back in the pistol behind Hampton. Pivots and now bootlegs. He is forced out of the pocket, running wide right. Now tucks it and takes off with it and slides down at the 37 for essentially no gain. Christian Garrett, who had the sack on that last Georgia Tech defensive series. Freshman gets the stop. That might take us to the end of the first quarter, depending on how quick Gardner-Webb wants to move. 11 seconds to go.
It was a nice rush by Garrett, but even better was the pursuit that took away the cutback lane on the scramble by Hampton.
2 seconds, 1 second, and Hampton will not get the snap off in time. Takes us to the end of a very uneven first 15 minutes for Georgia Tech. They committed 2 first-quarter turnovers, did get the touchdown pass of 12 yards from Philo to Isaiah Canyon. And with the extra point and a missed extra point from Gardner-Webb, Georgia Tech heads into the second quarter with a 7-6 lead. Timeout on the field. We'll take one as well on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
Renaissance Rewards Extra is the checking account that checks all the boxes. Roadside assistance? Check. Cell phone insurance? Check. More than 400,000 local shopping discounts? Check. Up to $25 per month in ATM refunds and a great rate? Check. All in an easy-to-use mobile app. To open an account or find out more about Renaissance Rewards Extra Checking, go to RenaissanceBank.com or visit us at any of our more than 190 locations throughout the South. Renaissance Bank. Understanding you. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
It's college football season, so you need all the energy you can get. Luckily, Georgia Power knows a thing or two about saving energy. We understand that energy costs are an important part of your budget. That's why we're dedicated to providing tools and assistance that can help make a difference, so you can save your energy for the game. Visit georgiapower.com/myenergy to learn more.
Stream Georgia Tech totally free on the Extra 106.3 app. Available now for Apple and Android. And listen to the Jackets anywhere. You're locked into Georgia Tech football. Driven by Hyundai. Now back to the voice of the Jackets, Andy Demetra.
As Buzz crowd serves in the student section. Down behind the north end zone. Set to start the second quarter. Georgia Tech on top of Gardner-Webb 7-6. Let's go down to the sidelines. Chris Mooneyham, joined by a very special guest. Chris.
Guys, I'm here on the sidelines with a special guest. Justin Thomas is joining us on the broadcast. JT, how are you, buddy? Tell everybody what you've been up to, and, let's start there.
I'm great. It's great to be back. At the moment, I'm coaching back in my home, my alma mater. Coaching the quarterbacks there, and at the same time, helping run a janitorial service. So, got a little best of both worlds.
A little bit of entrepreneurial.
Yeah, just a little bit.
All right, so you're back on the flats. Tell us what you think of this season opener as we get ready to start the home slate for Georgia Tech.
I think they started off in the right direction, so now it's just, I was just talking to you about staying consistent, and I like the guys that have came back, and with King and the running back as well. So I think I like where we're sitting at right now.
Nice to see the turnaround as a former Tech man from where this program was 5-6 years ago.
100%. Coming to the games, you can enjoy it, and they're in every game at least. So, they're competing, and I love it.
JT, thanks for giving us a minute.
No doubt. Appreciate it.
Guys.
Oh, the man forever known around these parts is Smooth. And that's with a V. Andrew Gardner. Pride of Prattville, Alabama, Justin Thomas.
You got to put a little respect on that Smooth when you say, you know what I mean? Can't say it wrong.
And he was as smooth as his nickname.
He absolutely
So we flip sides. Gardner-Webb now moves right to left. That's toward the Georgia Tech student section. 7-6 Yellow Jackets. The touchdown from Philo to Isaiah Canyon after Georgia Tech's first two drives ended in turnovers. Gardner-Webb outgained Tech in the first quarter, 96-85. They have a 2nd and 10, right hash at the Tech 37. Trips left. Lone back is Holmes, and he takes the carry. No, it's Hampton breaking off right tackle and hit from the side at the 31. Gain of 6 after he was ended by Melvin Jordan. Nate Hampton at 6'6", 240, not shy by calling his own number, 132 rushing yards, 4 rushing touchdowns in that upset win versus Western Carolina last week. It's 3rd down and 4. 2-by-2 set. With Holmes alongside him. Here's the mesh. Holmes turns out left, but he's jumped onto from behind and dropped behind the line. A loss of 1 to the 32. Jordan Boyd, the sophomore, flattened him.
And Georgia Tech all over the read option that time. They had a player on the backside for the quarterback and 2 on the front side for the running back. Really a great job having all areas covered. Not really respecting the throw on that down, but now here we go. 4th down for the Gardner-Webb defense.
4 receivers, 3 right, 1 left. Little hard count. Georgia Tech flinches but gets back on its side. Line to gain is the Georgia Tech 27-yard line. Hampton adjusts the protection with his offensive line. He's got 1 receiver along the numbers left. Georgia Tech walks a linebacker up. He's pressured. He is devoured. Back at the 40. Melvin Jordan never broke stride and detonated on Hampton to turn over Gardner-Webb on downs.
And Blake Gideon choosing to bring pressure on 3rd down. If Gardner-Webb is going to continue to work that long mesh, there's just not enough time. Great job by Melvin Gordon splitting the defense untouched and bringing him home for what ended up being a sack party back there with Nate Hampton. Huge stop by the Georgia Tech defense. And now a Georgia Tech offense that has not been stopped other than by the Georgia Tech offense has an opportunity to wrestle control of this football game.
3rd sack already turned in by Blake Gideon's defense. Tech takes over at its own 39. Pistol and a trip set left as it swung on the tunnel screen left, and Rutherford juking up the hash to the 45, and a gain of 6 by Malik Rutherford. Career catch number 138 now for the redshirt senior from Miami, Malik Rutherford. Georgia Tech running hurry up, stack receivers on each side. 2nd down and 4. The snap, the pivot, and the handoff. It's Haynes, explodes up the middle 40, races on, 25-20, 15-10, 5, House call. Make it Malachi Hosley. And stunt on them, Hosley. 13:32 to go, and Tech has the 13-6 lead.
And a great block by Ethan McKinney. Malachi Hosley getting the big touchdown run. There you go, Grandma, for your first live game of your grandson. A nice gift for you.
Well, Jamal Haynes and Malachi Hosley, very similar in body types, evidently very similar in their acceleration for Hosley. With 9 rushing touchdowns last year for Penn, goes 55 yards to the house, 13-6 Tech. Extra point upcoming. The hold by Nichols, the extra point by Burr. It is up and true. But after a 4th down stop, Georgia Tech did not waste time. 2 plays later, they get the touchdown and extend the lead to 14-6. We're back after this on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
Welcome to Willie's Wings, home of the secret sauce.
I'll take a dozen wings. Oh, by the way, I love that sauce. What's in it?
Can't tell you.
Why not?
It's a secret.
While many financial advisors claim to have the secret sauce, they don't. In fact, if their sauce is so good, why are they keeping it a secret? Evan Ward of Atlas Retirement doesn't keep anything a secret. He knows there's much more to retirement planning than stocks, bonds, and mutual funds. Evan will develop a strategy designed specifically for you. It's your own secret sauce for retirement. Call Evan Ward at Atlas Retirement to schedule your personal portfolio x-ray today. Call 678-252-5224. That's 678-252-5224. Or online at atlasretirement.net.
Fine, you want to know what's in the sauce?
Absolutely.
Tablespoon of paprika.
Really?
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, a registered investment advisor.
Go Jackets! Hey, it's Los. Join Tug and I every weekday morning, 6 to 10 on the Morning Extra, right here on Extra 106.3 and the Extra 106.3 app.
This is Yellow Jackets football, driven by Hyundai on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
Georgia Tech football is brought to you by Georgia Power, proud partner of Georgia Tech Athletics. 55-yard touchdown burst up the middle by Malachi Hosley. And with the extra point, Tech extends the lead to 14-6 over Gardner-Webb, 13:32 in our second quarter of the home opener. Malachi Hosley was our pregame guest on the Ramblin' Wreck kickoff show. Junior from Columbus, Georgia, prepped at Northside High, where he's Georgia 5A Player of the Year. Spent his first 2 seasons in the Ivy League at Penn. 2-time first-team All-Ivy. Last year was Ivy League Player of the Year. Ranked 4th in the FCS in rush average, 119 yards per game. As a freshman, Andrew, he rushed for 261 yards in a game versus Cornell, which included a 96-yard touchdown. So 55-yard touchdown is sort of light work for Hosley.
That's a heck of a game, much to the chagrin of Andy Bernard, I'm sure.
Oh, and also Here Comes Treble, the a cappella group.
Yes, perhaps a ballad sung.
And as you had mentioned, he had noted this in our pregame interviews. Grandma Nettie Minter had yet to see him play a college game in person. That travel to and from Philadelphia too strenuous, but she's in the building today, along with the rest of his family from Columbus. And she just treated Grandma Nettie to an explosive run and his first touchdown as a Yellow Jacket.
A great moment to share for the whole Hosley family. Her first game, gets to see him score a touchdown, and everyone could be forgiven. That looked just like the law office of Haynes and Haynes back there. We've all seen that a million times.
The drop of the arm by Burr, and he bangs the kickoff away from left to right, arcing across this cloudy sky. 6 yards deep in the end zone, takes a hop and through the back line for a touchback.
Georgia Tech looking like the team that these fans came to see for these last few drives. An uncharacteristic mistake, but since that personal foul by Jordan Vandenberg on the punt, everything after that has looked like what we thought Georgia Tech would look like. Defense playing great, offense playing great. Hopefully that's a sign of things turning in this game. The defense has an opportunity on this drive to start to kind of squash out that belief a little bit out of Gardner-Webb.
See what Chris Reiser does to maybe buy some more time for his quarterback, Nate Hampton, because those pockets have been caving in quick. E.J. Lightsey, Tajay Butler are the linebacking tandem here. Following the touchback, 1st and 10 Gardner-Webb, left hash at its own 26. A slot left for Hampton. Holmes, hands on thigh pads beside him. And Holmes gets the carry, hunting for room right, tries to counter left, but he's clamped down to at the ankles and spilled for a loss of 1. Kelvin Hill, the UAB transfer from Carrollton, Georgia, did not have a tackle in Boulder, has one there, and it's a TFL.
And that's the same play that Gardner-Webb scored a touchdown on. Running back looking to bounce back again, but Kelvin Hill with a good sure tackle in the backfield.
Holmes is a patient runner, had 116 rushing yards in the season opener. He's the featured back 2x2 set. Hampton twiddles, finds the laces, throws the slant. It's caught at the 30 and breaking up with a dive close to the first down marker. They'll say Lowe did get there to the 35.5 at a first down.
And that skinny post kind of slant off the read, kind of the RPO slant is a big part of this offense and what they had success with last week.
Already Lowe's third catch. He's the slot on the left between the hash and the numbers. Hampton with Holmes in the backfield. Links up with him on the mesh, now throws the fade down the left sideline over the shoulder and just off the fingertips of Lowe. A double move got Kelvin Hill a half step behind, but just couldn't reel that in.
Lowe able to get a couple steps on Hill. This ball is pretty well placed by Hampton, but at full tilt, Lowe not able to get his hands out and bring it in. A little bit of a lucky break by Georgia Tech there. Want to see that coverage a little tighter on this Gardner-Webb offense.
Running Bulldogs averaged 22 yards of completion last week as Hampton deploys 3 receivers to his left. Throws the bubble screen, but it's blown up on the left side. Twisted down at the 34. Kelvin Hill with another TFL. That's a loss of 2. The catch was by the true freshman Sean Brady, but his first career collegiate catch goes for -2.
Well, Hill's getting all the action on this drive. He's deep. He's making tackles for loss. Really well played. He's one defender there for 2 offensive plays, able to defeat the block and make that tackle for loss. If your corners can do that, then teams just can't beat you on those little bubble screens.
Started all 12 games as a true freshman for UAB last year. 43 tackles, 5 pass breakups. It's 3rd and 12 running Bulldogs at their own 34. 11:47 second quarter. Twins each way for Hampton. With a staggered stance, takes the snap, retrieves the throw, dumps underneath. It is caught. Breaking right goes Holmes. He busts a tackle at the 40. A little loose with the football, but he's finally plugged up at the 42. A gain of 8 when he needed 12 as Lightsey finished him off.
Gardner-Webb with the little screen underneath, gets the interior offensive line released. Well read by Clayton Powell-Lee. Forces the running back to kind of bounce it horizontally, which allows Lightsey to ultimately get that stop. You know, the small thing in defense is easy to miss, but if Powell-Lee doesn't read that coming downhill, then that play is probably a first down.
After some deliberation, Gardner-Webb sends the punting unit on. Rivers standing sentinel between the hashes at his 15. Another punt for the beefy senior Brady Braun. He began his career at Oklahoma, then Louisiana Monroe, and Coffeyville Community College. He hangs this high, a spinner, as Rivers bails on it, takes a hop softly at the 5, right in his tracks, and checks upfield, and is down by Gardner-Webb at the 6.
And that's a nice punt. Eric Rivers, probably a little snake bit from last week when he fielded that one inside the 10. You know, that's kind of a gray area. They say put the toes at the 10 and don't catch anything. He probably could have caught that, but again, it's been hammered into him, I'm sure, about last week not to take that chance. Really well placed by Gardner-Webb on that punt.
Especially with some lingering rain as well. Don't want to mishandle a slick punt. And so Georgia Tech takes over after this break. 10:42, second quarter from Bobby Dodd Stadium at Hyundai Field. Tech on top 14-6 on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
If you like to do this, or that, or even that, and you want to stay with it, Emory's got your back, or your shoulder, or your hip, or your knee. Our sports medicine specialists treat more world-class, professional, and college-level athletes than anyone else in the state. We'll treat you like a pro and get you back in play. That's the Emory difference. Make an appointment at emoryhealthcare.org/sports.
Hey, Yellow Jackets fans, it's college football season, and SeatGeek is the official ticket marketplace of Hail Marys and walk-on heroes. SeatGeek makes it easy to find tickets, so you can be part of all the action this season. Whether you're buying or selling tickets to Georgia Tech football games or to any other live event in Atlanta, SeatGeek is the place to do it. SeatGeek is the official ticket marketplace of Georgia Tech football. Let's go Yellow Jackets. SeatGeek.
Hey, you're listening to Georgia Tech football at Extra 106.3. Don't forget this guy, the Kimmer, he's back. Oh, no, raising holy snarkies every day on 106.3.
Field is buzzing. Now more Georgia Tech football, driven by Hyundai on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
33-minute weather delay at the start of this one, and some lingering rain here, but it has done little to dampen the enthusiasm of Georgia Tech's 113th home opener at Bobby Dodd Stadium at Hyundai Field. Certainly didn't get off to a promising start with turnovers on Georgia Tech's first two possessions. Second straight week, they've coughed it up on their first two series. Gardner-Webb led 6-0, but both of Tech's last drives have resulted in touchdowns. They trot back on with a 1st and 10 at their own 6, leading Gardner-Webb 14-6.
Well, it's a 30-minute weather delay. Georgia Tech seemed like they decided they'd just take an extra 15 minutes, take it to a full 45. But they've shown up now and have looked good these last several drives. Chance right here, a big 94-yard drive for a touchdown would be just what the doctor ordered.
Jamal Haynes comes in. He's the sidecar for Fino, a tight end in the slot right and a stack beyond him. Beetham motions across, now reverses back to his right. The snap to Fino and the mash, and it's Haynes. And he tries to work over right guard, maybe a couple up to the 8. There's a read well by that interior of the Gardner-Webb line, Andre Crawley Jr., 6'1", 290-pound grad transfer from Emory and Henry, who began his career at Wagner College. Georgia Tech returning 83% of its rushing yards from last year. And Jamal Haynes, now the 2068 career, 16th in school history. He's the pistol back this time behind Fino. Stockton in motion. Retreats, throws down the right hash, has a man behind the defense. It is caught in midfield. Zion Taylor tackled from behind, but inside Bulldogs territory, down to the 47-yard line.
And just as the rain is starting to come down heavily, a big deep ball on the post, well placed by Aaron Filo, right into the running hands of Zion Taylor.
What a catch last week. Inside handoff. Haynes rips through. 35-30. No one's going to catch him. 10-5. Touchdown, Jamal Haynes.
Hey, monkey see, monkey do. You see one, I see one, I run one. Great job by Jamal Haynes. Basically the same play right up the middle. You said they look the same. I mean, put those on overlay those two shots. It's going to be basically the same play out of both running backs.
Malachi Hosley's touchdown went for 55. This one from Jamal went for 53. His 17th career rushing touchdown, 20-6 Tech, with 9:35 to go in the second quarter. And Georgia Tech ran tempo after that 39-yard completion, and you could tell Gardner-Webb could not get organized as Burr strikes the extra point good and takes us to timeout. 21-6 Georgia Tech. To give Jamal Haynes 6 carries, 85 rushing yards, bidding for an 8th career 100-yard game. Anything Malachi Hosley can do, Jamal Haynes can also do. And got some good blocking as well for that 53-yard touchdown gallop. Timeout on the field will take him as well on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
Hey, it's Lowe's here to tell you about a new, stress-free, and completely transparent way to purchase your next pre-owned car, truck, or SUV. It's with Tom Mitchell, the honest car guy. Tom, traditionally, I've been a payment buyer. How do you work with that type of buyer?
I have people that come in all the time and spend $20,000. Okay, if their payments are $400 on $20,000, they don't realize without the doc fees, without all this other stuff, we can put them in a 22 or 23 model car and we can spend a little bit more money and have the same payment. So if you're a payment buyer, don't come in here just saying, I want to spend $20,000, because we can sit there and help you and we can put you in a newer car with lesser miles at a payment you need.
Friends, if you're in the market for a pre-owned car, truck, or SUV, get an honest car buy from the Honest Car Guy. You pay what we pay, plus an honest fee, and we back that up by giving you the bill of sale. That's our transparency guarantee. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME, the number 1, or visit honestcarguy.com.
Stream Georgia Tech totally free on the Extra 106.3 app. Available now for Apple and Android. And listen to the Jackets anywhere. The Jackets are on the field. It's Georgia Tech football on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
Georgia Tech football is brought to you by Scana Energy. Make the easy choice. Switch to Scana Energy today. A couple of explosives for Georgia Tech, helping them do a 3-play, 94-yard touchdown drive. The first play of the series went for a 2-yard gain by Jamal Haynes, then a 39-yard completion off play action. Aaron Philo connecting it down the seam on the post to Zion Taylor. Georgia Tech hustled downfield, got lined up quickly, and caught the running Bulldogs flat-footed because the next play was a 53-yard house call. Jamal Haynes on the run, and with the extra point, 21-6, Tech on top of Gardner-Webb.
Well, Buster Faulkner and Aaron Philo using the pass game to open up the run game. So often you think of it the other way, but really well done by that offense to bust another huge run.
Before we have the next kickoff, let's pause 10 seconds for station ID. This is Georgia Tech football.
Yellow Jackets football is on now. WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey broadcasting station. Extra 106.3.
Into the Metra, Andrew Gardner, Chris Mooneyham. Hopefully he brought his rain gear down on that home sideline of Bobby Dodd Stadium, a Hyundai Field. When you're a sideline reporter, Cub Scouts rule, Boy Scouts rule always applies. Gotta be prepared.
Always be prepared. And if I know Chris, he is.
We do have an update from Chris, which we'll get to momentarily. Burr with the ball up right on the tee. And he drills this from left to right. Through the raindrops, tumbling end over end, fielded 3 yards deep. And Gardner-Webb will take it out and low, plants his foot in the ground, tries to swing out right. He is shoved backwards, though. He's at the 2 and knocked down at the 2. Oh, brother, what was he thinking? He ran into a wall of Georgia Tech special teamers trying to wind down to his right, then reverse his field. A flag was thrown on the play. Will Kiker with the finishing tackle. But that ball is now at the 2-yard line for Gardner-Webb, pending the flag.
And a really great job by Elgin Sessions.
And a holding penalty against Gardner-Webb. Half the distance, so they'll move it back to the 1. Hold that thought. We had an injury update from Chris Mooneyham. Chris.
Guys, after that last defensive stop for Georgia Tech, back here on the sidelines, new Georgia Tech defensive lineman Braden Manley, a transfer during the offseason out of Mercer University in Central Georgia, came to the training staff complaining of pain in his left wrist. He's going to be fine to go the rest of the way, but they taped up his left hand and left wrist heavily, something we'll watch the rest of the way.
All right, thank you, Chris. And right now, the defensive ends manned by Christian Garrett and Amontre Bradford, the sophomore from Statesboro. Christian Garrett has already had a sack. And with the enforcement of the half the distance penalty, Gardner-Webb will have to dig out from its own 1-yard line.
There's definite safety risk here, the way this Georgia Tech defense has been getting into the backfield. A dangerous moment for Gardner-Webb.
Greasock at the right hip of Hampton. And he gets the call, running up the middle, has a burst across the 5. And just plows ahead to the 6. Kyle Eford with the stop, and that buys Gardner-Webb some breathing room. Carson Greasock, 5'11", 215, redshirt junior who began his career with Gardner-Webb head coach Chris Reiser at Division II Tiffin. He's got 23 career rushing touchdowns, makes it 2nd down and 5. Once again, is planted alongside Hampton, a receiver along each number. Georgia Tech puts 7 in the box. On the draw, it's Greasock trying to wriggle through a crease between guard and left center. Center. Gets up to the 9. Stone drops him for a gain of 3.
And backed up in the shadow of their own end zone. Gardner-Webb just going with their power back, trying to get downhill. They always tell you got to get 1 first down in this situation. If Georgia Tech can hold tough on 3rd down and force Gardner-Webb to try to punt from their own end zone, a very stressful situation for any team.
Bulldogs are over their last 4 on 3rd downs. Greasock remains in as the lone setback. 3rd and 2 from the Gardner-Webb 9-yard line. 1 receiver each way. H-back squatting behind the right tackle, and there's going to be a direct snap to Greasock, but somebody flinched early and flags are tossed.
And they'd shifted the backfield over. And I guess the miscommunication of having someone else doing the clapping, too much for the offense, threw them off. And then on top of everything else, maybe the wet football messing up the offense and just skipped it back there.
And Greasock was in the backfield with Hampton, but they had moved Greasock and shotgun behind the center, Luke Rector. So following the penalty, it backs up the running Bulldogs to the 5, 3rd down and 6 with 8:05 and tick in second quarter. Tech leads 21-6. Greasock and Hampton shoulder to shoulder, one receiver each way. Georgia Tech rushes 4 as Greasock pounds it straight ahead, but he's stacked up by the Jackets. Only muscles up to the 6, a gain of 1. Good job by Kyle Leifert to slam those elevator doors shut on the straight-ahead run, and Tech forces the 3 and out.
Great run defense by Georgia Tech. And kind of the unseen factor in that last play is Gardner-Webb must lack the confidence that they could protect their quarterback and not risk a safety. All of the defensive pressure and tackles for loss and sacks that have happened over the last few drives playing a role there where Gardner-Webb just wanted to hand that ball off and hope for the best and maybe just survive to punt the football.
So this will be a short snap to Braun, the punter. Georgia Tech with both Stockton and Rivers split along the hashes close to the midfield. And whistles blow, timeout called Gardner-Webb as that play clock was nearing expiration. Flag was thrown, but I believe Gardner-Webb got the timeout called before the delay of game. 6:59, second quarter. Tech with 21 unanswered points to lead the running Bulldogs 21-6. It's interesting that Gardner-Webb, Andrew, pulled off the comeback they did, their largest come-from-behind win in school history in their opener versus Western Carolina. They trailed 35-7 at the 8.5-minute mark of the second quarter because last year they outscored opponents plus 14 in the first half. They were outscored minus 64 in the second half, or plus 21 after halftime versus the Catamounts. Point here is Georgia Tech should feel good opening up a 15-point lead, but you know Gardner-Webb will keep fighting.
Oh, they absolutely will, and they built a lot of belief last week, but Georgia Tech also has possession after the half, so a huge opportunity to win that middle eight of the football game.
The punt by Braun sends a spinner between the hashes. Rivers runs underneath it at the 45, dancing right to the 40, trying to gain the edge. He's tackled at the 35 by the punter Braun, but a solid return by Eric Rivers gives Georgia Tech plus field position with 6:48 to go.
Georgia Tech is winning the hidden yardage battle. The special teams of Georgia Tech, the kickoff coverage, the punt team, even with the hold on a previous return, Georgia Tech has been getting positive yardage on most punt returns. And to help with the field goal position in this game, the field position in this game is not an understated factor in Georgia Tech's ability to score.
So back comes Philo. It was a game-time start ahead of Haynes King. They reconfigure and push out 3 receivers wide left. Hosley, the lone setback. He's flexed out. And it's a tunnel screen left, caught by Rutherford. Dashes up the hash to the 33, where he's cut down by the linebacker, Jamari Young, the reigning Big South Defensive Player of the Week and East Carolina transfer. But a solid gain of a few by Malik Rutherford. Georgia Tech running tempo. They put the ball down at the 34. Second and 8 officially. Rivers, the slot right, Canyon beyond him. He caught the touchdown for Georgia Tech's first score. Off play action, zipped over the middle on the slant, and it's in and out of the hands of Seither. Incomplete.
Georgia Tech with a little RPO over the middle. A little high for Seither, a ball I think he could have handled. He would want that one back. Just short arms it a little bit, trying to catch it over the middle. Brings up a much more difficult third down. But in this part of the field, Georgia Tech hopefully gets it all, but just needs to get part of this to make a more manageable fourth down situation.
Gardner-Webb can get exotic on third down. Tech is 0 of 1 on third downs. They cluster 3 receivers, short side left, twins right. Empty set for Philo. A 4-man rush, and somebody flinched early, and flags are tossed. It's Keelan Rutledge. Georgia Tech certainly had hoped to clean up the procedural penalties from last week, but they dinged the first team All-ACC right guard. So now 3rd and 13.
Last thing Georgia Tech needed was for this third down to be even further. Hoping to clean up some of the mistakes from the Colorado game, but unfortunately too many of those similar mistakes have reared their head in the first half of this Gardner-Webb game.
That's Georgia Tech's Third penalty of the half. Shotgun snap and a rollout right by Fado. He's scanning. He winds. He throws. And a sliding catch at the 21 by Rutherford. That's a first down and a gain of 18.
Georgia Tech runs sprint out protection to the right, and Aaron Filo is able to find Malik Rutherford on a route he had so much success with last year. That deep crossing drag route, well placed on the run by Aaron Filo.
Yeah, he was able to layer that in. Hosley at his left tip. Links with him on the mesh. Hosley gets the call. Lowering his shoulder up the middle. He's spun around at the ankles and falls forward to the 19 for a gain of 3. Kahari Haynes, redshirt sophomore linebacker, Shelby, North Carolina with the stop. Played his first 2 years at Appalachian State. As the clock winds, 5:35 second quarter, and Tech on top 21-6. Stockton, Seither, and Patterson, the receivers left. Rutherford and Hosley split right. Orbit motion from Hosley. The snap to Filo. He opens his hips. A touch pass left. A stop and start by Hosley. Up the left sideline to the 15-10. He's got the first down, but another penalty flag was thrown near where that block was laid.
Georgia Tech, let's see what he has to say.
This time Bailey Stockton the guilty party. Make it second down and 16.
Well, Georgia Tech using personnel and formation mixes. They get in 5 wide, but it's really 11 personnel. They motion the running back across, and essentially this becomes a sweep play, throwing it outside behind a tight end player to block. Unfortunately, not able to make those blocks cleanly and get them in the back.
Haynes back in as the standing tail. Double tight end right. Condensed formation for the Jackets. It'll be an end around to Rivers. Sweeping right. Turns upfield at the 30 and twisted around and dropped at the 28-yard line. Only picks up a couple to the 28.
That's the second time we've seen Georgia Tech come back to this reverse. Well read by Antonio O'Berry of Gardner-Webb. He's standing there in the way, doesn't bite down like previously, and stops what would be a much bigger gain from Georgia Tech. Now bringing up third and very long, an opportunity for Gardner-Webb to get very exotic on this down.
Second straight 3rd and 10 plus, 3rd and 15 Tech at the Gardner-Webb 27. 3 receivers and the tight end left for Filo. Wheels out to his left. He's being chased, gets around it, throws to the 5. It's caught at the 5 by Rutherford and lunges down to the 1. Another 3rd and long. Once again, it's Filo to Rutherford, and the Jackets have a 1st and goal.
And that's the second time on this drive that Filo has dropped a dime on the move. This time to his left. This throw was even harder, just barely over the linebacker in front of the safety. Really well-thrown football by Aaron Filo, rolling away from his throwing arm.
Filo goes under center, offset eye with Hosley and Haynes. The snap, the turn. It's Haynes pounding it behind the right side, and he gets across. Touchdown, Jackets. That's just meat and potatoes football for Georgia Tech at the goal line. Jamal Haynes' second rushing touchdown of the half, and Georgia Tech stretches the lead to 27-6. 3:59 to go before halftime.
Well, if you're a fan of old school football, that touchdown makes you smile on the inside. Just offset eye, strong eye, and just run power O out of it from under center. You don't see that one every day in 2025 football.
Well, Jamal Haynes can do it in short yardage as well. Back-to-back series ending in touchdowns for number 1. Extra point on the way from Burr. Toward the right side, and good. Well, it was not a drive without some self-inflicted adversity from Georgia Tech. They converted a 3rd and 12 and a 3rd and 15, and it was the same script with Aaron Filo rolling and connecting with Malik Rutherford, who so far has 5 first-half receptions for 62 yards. The last one on a 3rd and 15 going for 26 yards. It brought Tech down to the Gardner-Webb 1, and one play later, Haynes was able to punch it in.
Yeah, Aaron Filo's ability to throw the football has really made it difficult for Gardner-Webb. They've opened up the run game on the previous drive. A long throw to Zion Taylor, then backs the secondary up and allows you to run that counter play right up the middle. And then on this drive, his ability to get outside the pocket and hit receivers on the move extends the drive. It's just putting them in a bind. A lot of times we see Haynes King do it with his legs. Right now we're watching Aaron Filo do it with his arm.
Tech has outscored Gardner-Webb 21-0 in the second quarter. Aaron Donald, 9 of 12, 150 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. The kickoff by Burr. From left to right, soaring majestically towards the O in Georgia Tech. And this time, Anthony Lowe will use some discretion. He will call for fair catch after his last run back. Well, he got out to about the 10 and then decided to go backwards and get tackled at the 2.
Well, fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on you. Fool me 3 times. Where's the shame?
Yeah, you're going down to the depth chart when you get fooled a 3rd time.
At a certain point, you just got to take the ball at the 25 and call it a day.
Well, the sun is battling to break through the cloud cover here. Rain has been off and on at Bobby Dodd Stadium at Hyundai Field for the home opener as the Yellow Jackets look to extend its home win streak to 6 games. Nate Hampton is 5 of 8 for 39 yards and a touchdown. He's also rushed it a team high 7 times for 27 yards. Georgia Tech has racked up 3 sacks. Tight end right. Holmes, the lone setback. It's put in his belly. Juking left and up past the 30. Driven down at the 32. Solid gain of 7 by Quayshawn Holmes, who was a transfer to Gardner-Webb from St. Francis of Pennsylvania. That was the same program you might recall that produced former Jacket transfer wide receiver E.J. Jenkins. Averaged 36 rushing yards a game last year, 4 touchdowns, 116 in the running Bulldog season opener.
He's been an effective running back for them, and he's done a good job today. A patient run there, just waiting for it to develop and get behind the offensive line and add his power. He's run well for them. That hasn't had much lately. Hopefully it continues to be that way.
Jams the mouthpiece in alongside Hampton. And he gets the call straight ahead again. This time he's hit from the side by Manley and dragged down after a gain of 1 to the 33. Good to see Braden Manley, who, as you heard from Chris Mooneyham, was nicked up with his wrist earlier this game, but back on. The junior from Vanceboro, North Carolina.
Well, I think the last thing that Gardner-Webb wants to do right now is give this ball back to this Georgia Tech offense the way it's playing, try to avoid the quick score. So they're playing the game where they're trying to drive this down, hoping to get a first down before they potentially go into hurry up. I mean, yeah, they want to score, but more than anything, if they give this ball back to Georgia Tech right now, they're probably looking at a turnaround score at halftime.
Running Bulldogs 3 of 10 on 3rd down. Holmes at the left tip of Hampton. A receiver short left, 1 beyond the numbers right. Georgia Tech coiled up for a blitz. Give to Hampton, and he is blasted up the middle. Doesn't gain the first down. Might have lost a half yard. It was Tajay Butler with another TFL.
And Tajay Butler playing spoiler, able to knife underneath the blocks and get the tackle for no gain, putting Gardner-Webb in a very difficult position. Georgia Tech's going to get the ball back under 2 minutes, but with all 3 timeouts left, an opportunity to score again before getting the ball coming out of halftime.
That takes us to our 2-minute timeout. 4th and 2 for Gardner-Webb at its own 33. Georgia Tech certainly finding its footing after a shaky beginning to this game. Touchdowns on their last 4 possessions and a 28-6 lead over Gardner-Webb. Timeout on the field. We'll take one as well. Back after this, the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
Football season is here and the fall months are approaching, but it's still warm, which means pests like ants, roaches, and mosquitoes are still out in force. Luckily, you can trust the pros at Arrow Exterminators to keep your home, business, and tailgate pest-free. Atlanta-based Arrow Exterminators is trusted to keep a pest-free zone at the Yellow Jackets home, so rest assured that with Arrow's termite and pest control, you're getting the best from the best. Schedule a free pest inspection today. Call 888-GO-ARROW or visit arrowexterminators.com.
Another checkup? Why are so many people getting new puppies?
Dr. Kim's veterinary office is littered with cuteness.
We are booked solid for weeks, but who can say no to a puppy, right? Oh, who's a good boy? Oh, who's what? Oh,
she needs to find extra vet techs to get those pups some extra love.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job on Indeed, candidates can find it easier, so you can hire easier. Redeem your $75 credit at Indeed.com/credit. Terms and conditions apply.
Hey, it's Pete Davis. Glad you're here for Georgia Tech football on Extra 106.3. We'll see you weekdays at 3 o'clock sharp.
Now back to the field for more Georgia Tech football, driven by Hyundai on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
4th and 2 coming up for Gardner-Webb at its own 33. 28-6, Georgia Tech on top. They've ripped off 28 unanswered. 2 rushing touchdowns from Jamal Haynes, a 55-yard touchdown run from Malachi Hosley. And a nifty 12-yard drop in the bucket from Aaron Philo to Isaiah Canyon for Canyon's first career touchdown reception as a Jacket. Coming up, it's our Ramblin' Wreck halftime show. Justin Hanover anchors our coverage. We'll listen back to our first half highlights. Check scores around the ACC and top 25. Get the pregame walk-off thoughts of head coach Brent Key. He was unaware that this was a grudge match for him because September 25th, 2004, Andrew, he actually coached against Gardner-Webb when he spent one season as the tight ends and running backs coach in Western Carolina. It was a SoCon matchup back then, and they fell in overtime in Boiling Springs, 26-20.
Well, anything it takes, Andy. Anything it takes to get you juiced up for the opponent. But I'll tell you what, man, this Georgia Tech offense and defense, this team has really woken up after a slow start. And the defense, after kind of one bad drive, has now had 6 straight third down stops. And, I mean, Blake Gideon has these boys playing, and Georgia Tech really has woken up. And, you know, sun's out. The athletes are out, the fans, the students are having a great time. This is the atmosphere we all came to have today.
Yeah, I think everybody can kind of exhale a little bit more than what they saw in the first 10 or so minutes. Also, good job by Georgia Tech defensively. This first half has progressed, denying scrambles from Nate Hampton. He vultured a lot of off-schedule yards en route to his 132 rushing yards, 4 rushing touchdowns in their comeback win over Western Carolina. Braun to punt from his own 18. Swings away, booms this away, fading off towards the left, takes a hop towards Rivers. He will bail on it inside the 15, now rolls inside the 10, and deadens out between the hashes at the 7. Again, those have some awkward spin off the leg of Brown, and I think seeing 2 gunners in his periphery, Eric Rivers didn't want to tempt fate, run underneath it, and risk a bobble, especially at this juncture in the half. And with the way Georgia Tech has been gouging yards offensively, they may not mind a long field with 1:46 to go and still all 3 timeouts.
Well, it's always easy to say, hey, you should have caught that, but once you don't catch it, then, like you said, sometimes discretion is the greater part of valor, and you just can't give any life to Gardner-Webb in that situation. So, yeah, I'd like the extra 10 yards, but a safe decision. And like I said, still 3 timeouts, plenty of time on the clock.
Goes for a 61-yard punt. Philo trots out with Haynes at his left hip. 2 receivers each way. He beckons JT Byrne in motion to Krabs and settles. High snap and a flag before that snap. Might be a false start against the Jackets. It will. So the right tackle, Malachi Carney. Tana'alo Tupuola is the center. Harrison Moore is at left guard. As Tech brings out Rutherford, brings in an extra tight end and beat them. So 12 personnel here as Georgia Tech has to fight from its own 4. No time off the clock. It's still 1:46 before halftime. Double tight end right. Haynes the sidecar as Gardner-Webb crowds the A-gap and their middle linebacker Talon Fisher. That forces an adjustment from Philo with the play clock still at 13. Takes the snap. Swings it short right. It's caught. Rivers turns inside 15 and rolled up from behind at the 20. A pickup of 14 and a first down.
Well read by Aaron Philo. Has the RPO backside. Reads the backside linebacker. When he bites, he just hit the slant backside. Good ball in rhythm.
First reception by Rivers today after he had 2 catches for 11 yards versus Colorado. Part of a twin set. On the left, twins right. Pistol this time for Philo. Takes the snap, fades the throw. Now swings it left flat to Haynes, gets a block. Cuts inside, 25. Working towards the sideline. He was cut down inside the field of play. They'll give him the 29, though, and a gain of 8. 1:06 as the clock still ticks.
A nice block by Luke Harpering out there in front of him. Kind of the bailout pass was the flat to Haynes and had the lead block by Harpering.
Trips bunch left, inside handoff. Haynes has a burst, 35, cuts left 40, 45, a stiff arm from behind, and finally brought down at midfield, but there was another penalty flag thrown.
I think they may get Malachi Carney for holding.
Yep.
Told you, referees, a blocking of a certain quality they just do not like.
That's a second penalty against the right tackle, Malachi Carney, on this drive. 50 seconds to go, and Georgia Tech will call its first timeout.
So Malachi Carney is blocking down on the linebacker. He's expecting that play to bounce behind him to the right. When Jamal Haynes cuts to the left where he sees a hole and he finishes his linebacker, that's where you get holdings, because it looks like you're pulling the guy away from where the runner is. The runner becomes on the back side of the defense, and that's what Malachi Hosley ended up being a victim of on that previous play.
So second down, they back it up to the 25. Second down and 6. Shotgun snap to Fano. Ranges back. He's smoked out of the pocket. Throws off his back foot and just sails that into the Georgia Tech sideline. There was pressure coming from Antonio O'Berry, who led Gardner-Webb with 7 sacks last year. Now it becomes third down and 6.
Gardner-Webb brings more than Georgia Tech has to block with up the middle. Aaron Philo wants to escape outside the pocket to the right, but the defensive end is pushing upfield, so there's nowhere for him to go. Makes the smart decision, puts the ball in the stands.
Line to reach is the 31. Stack receivers on each side, with Stockton behind Taylor on the near side and Rivers behind Canyon on the left. The snap to Philo. Off play action, throws the slip screen, and it's overthrown. Looking for Malik Rutherford along the left numbers, but he floated that pass too high. And with 39 seconds to go at Georgia Tech, doing itself no favors with the penalty flags, they are forced to punt.
That ball just gets away from Philo. Great play call or decision. I don't know if he reads it or if that's called, but Georgia Tech has numbers on this play. Ball just gets loose from him a little bit. The Georgia Tech offense not as smooth on that drive as it has been. That's a shame, because there was an opportunity for them to get points in that drive.
Nichols the punt against a rush, sends this away from left to right. Fair catch signaled for by Lowe. He settles underneath it and makes the basket catch at the 29. 33 seconds to go. Gardner-Webb has one timeout remaining, and we expect them to be aggressive here, knowing they kick off to begin the second half. So 28-6, Tech on top.
Yeah, on the last drive, we saw Gardner-Webb in that situation where they're really trying to kill clock, don't want to give it back to Georgia Tech. I would be very surprised to see them just hand this ball off once and go to halftime. I would expect to see a couple long meshes, kind of play with the idea that maybe they're trying to get out and just take some shots. Maybe you try to get lucky and get a pass interference, but this Georgia Tech secondary needs to be ready to be tested. Like we said, they're trying to get a win, trying to make a comeback. They're probably going to take some aggressive shots in this situation.
Nate Hampton 5 for 8, 39 yards. Sprays 3 receivers to his right. Holmes is blown back. There's a 4-man front. RPO dumped over the middle. It's caught at the 35. Eford there to clamp down on Anthony Lowe for a gain of 6. 26 seconds left. And I don't believe Gardner-Webb called timeout, although the clock is stopped. And Gardner-Webb will indeed call his last timeout.
Just a little RPO to get that started. A lot of short routes. I expected them to try to go deeper on that first play, but maybe just wanting to get something effective on the first play, or maybe a miscommunication with the receivers, but not as aggressive as I would have expected on first down.
Just a 30-second timeout. They load 2 more seconds on the second quarter clock. 28 seconds to go now. Low the slot left. And now I think Chris Reiser said, hey, I got a timeout. Let me use the full length for it. So backing his team over to the far sideline. In front of a second down and 5 from Gardner-Webb's own 35. Georgia Tech has outgained Gardner-Webb 322 to 134 in this first half. But again, some of the things that we saw that kind of seeped into Tech's efficiency in Boulder, flaring up again. Tech has committed 6 first-half penalties, and they've turned it over twice. Last year, they were 11th nationally in fewest penalty yards per game, and they were in the top 10 nationally in fewest turnovers committed. So, they were very disciplined and didn't give away anything, either yards or possession.
Yeah, they've been the better team today, but they have not been clean, played clean football that we wanted to see today.
Now 3 receivers wide left. That's the wide side of the field for Hampton. He gives it to Holmes, but he's upended up the middle, loses 3 on the play. That was blown up by Jordan Vandenberg, who just bull rushed his offensive lineman right into the chest of Quayshawn Holmes. I don't know if the offensive lineman should get that tackle or J.J. Vandenberg should, but with 15 seconds to go, it's 3rd and 7 following the loss of 2, and Brent Key calls his first timeout.
Yeah, does Vandenberg get the solo or the assist? Because he took 2 offensive linemen and knocked down a running back with them. That is an impressive feat of strength if I've ever seen one.
Well, you shouldn't be surprised by feats of strength of Jordan Vandenberg. Remember, his grandfather, Francois Vandenberg, placed 6th in the 1967 Mr. Universe pageant in the medium division. The overall winner of Mr. Universe that year was some guy named Schwarzenegger. I don't know if you're familiar.
Heard of him.
Yeah, that was his first ever Mr. Universe.
I mean, only 6th? Come on, Mr. Vandenberg.
Yeah, no. Pretty good company, though.
That's, you can put me on a list with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
No.
I wouldn't be mad.
So stack receivers now on each side in front of 3rd and 7 for Gardner-Webb. They're without a timeout. 15 seconds to go in the quarter. And Georgia Tech leading 28-6.
Brinke with the aggressive timeout.
Yeah.
He is not pleased about coming away from that last drive without points.
Georgia Tech has rolled up 9 TFLs in this first half after they recorded 6 in the opener. They planned 3 on the line. Josh Boyd to stand up DN. Hampton gazes over the line. He takes the snap off the RPO. It's Holmes trying to barrel his way up the middle. Only gets 1 to the 33. And timeout called Georgia Tech with 18 seconds remaining. It's kind of interesting that they run the play and they gain 3 seconds on the clock. Evidently, they put more time on before that timeout. So Georgia Tech has 1 timeout remaining. It's 4th and 6.
I said Brinke putting the pressure on Gardner-Webb. Georgia Tech has had success in the return game and really the overall special teams play today. So they may have something in the return game. They've used the 2 returner look. Maybe they have a good return that they're trying to gain some yards here. Like I said, you really try to win that middle 8. If they can get a quality return, they still have a timeout. That gives them a chance to throw the ball inbounds or even run the football to put themselves in field goal position. And we said back in Colorado, Aiden Burrow was hitting them from 60 yards in that thin air. That's still going to give you a good 50-plus in this Atlanta air, even as heavy as wet as it is. So I like the aggressive call from Brinke in this situation.
We'll see how hard they come after the punter, Brady Braun. 2-man protection. 2 gunners up top on the right. 18 seconds to go in the quarter. And he blasts this away, spinning towards Stockton. Waves for fair catch at the 21 with 12 seconds to go in the quarter. Might just be a kneel down and head to the locker room content with a 22-point lead.
That will be interesting because after the aggressive timeouts, do you continue to stay and give it 1 shot? I mean,
and Tech does have 1 timeout. So
I mean, the whole field is open. Maybe like I said, maybe threatening them deep and then something over the middle, let a little catch and run. And probably tell the receiver, if you have the touchdown, okay, but if you're not going to make it, slide down in within field goal range, pop a timeout, see if you can get this to over 30 before halftime.
Prevent defense shown by Gardner-Webb. Their cornerbacks are a good 15 yards behind the line of scrimmage. They only plan 3 on the line. The snap back to Fano. Inside handoff. Hosley angling right 30 to the 35. And finally driven down at the 36. 7 seconds left. And Brinke will wait for them. Not use the timeout. 2-by-2 set. 5 seconds to go in the quarter. Snap back to Fano. He wheels off to his right. Shrugs off a tackle. He floats it over the middle. It is caught by Stockton at the 45 of Gardner-Webb, but time runs out in the first half. So a completion for a couple of yards, but no points. But Georgia Tech will certainly get the applause as they jog off to their locker room from the Georgia Tech student section after they pinned 28 unanswered on Gardner-Webb and head into halftime with a 28-6 lead in the home opener at Bobby Dodd Stadium at Hyundai Field. Coming up, it's our Ramblin' Wreck halftime show. Justin Hanover anchors our coverage after this on the Georgia Tech Sports Network. Georgia Tech's Hell of a Block Party, driven by Hyundai, features multi-platinum recording artist Flo Rida live in concert on Saturday, September 13th, ahead of its matchup versus Clemson, presented by Renaissance Bank. The party starts at 8 a.m. on North Avenue in the heart of Midtown Atlanta, with Flo Rida taking the stage at 10. The Yellow Jackets take the field at noon. Get your game tickets and more information at RamblinRack.com. Sting 'em.
Welcome in. Our next focus group is for Panko Chicken. Take a bite and let me know what you think. So juicy.
Yum. It is next level crispy.
OMG. It is packed with flavor.
With the panko and this OG sauce, it's got an awesome Japanese-American vibe.
Do we have any more? We don't have any more Panko, but we have others.
We need to get more. Oh, but it's Sunday.
Actually, Panko Chicken is open 7 days a week.
Let's go get some more Panko. Find your neighborhood Panko Chicken at pankochicken.com.
Hey there, I'm Tara, owner and publisher of Our Town Monthly Magazine, where you'll find familiar faces, local voices, community businesses, and events, like the Superior Plumbing Presents North Georgia State Fair.
Hi, I'm Missy with the Superior Plumbing Presents North Georgia State Fair at Jim R. Miller Park, September 18th through the 28th. Enjoy the fun, the food, and amazing entertainment, including the Carriage Kia Grandstand Series. We're bringing back advanced pay one price ride tickets, plus free parking this year. Save money and enjoy a smoother experience. Visit NorthGeorgiaStateFair.com for daily deals and discover why we were voted Best Festival and Family Amusement 7 years in a row. That's NorthGeorgiaStateFair.com.
Friends, I'm getting my tickets. Are you? The North Georgia State Fair is more than an event. It's a tradition. And remember, our town is your town at Our Town Monthly.
Hey, it's Tug. Enjoy the game, and then join me and Los every weekday morning, 6 to 10, on the Morning Extra, on Extra 106.3 FM and the Extra 106.3 app.
It's halftime, and with 30 minutes in the books, it's time to break down the first half.
Now he throws to the end zone, and it's caught. Touchdown!
It's time for the Ramblin' Wreck Halftime Show. With all the highlights and stats, we get ready to buzz into the second half.
Justin Hanover back at Bobby Dodd Stadium at Hyundai Field. The Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets with a 28-6 lead over Gardner-Webb. 28 unanswered here for the Jackets. Not a great start once again, though. No Haynes King involved today so far. Aaron Philo the start. He played the entire first half. But just like last week with those 3 turnovers in the first 3 possessions, this week 2 turnovers in the first 2 possessions. A Philo fumble and a Philo interception. Things not starting well, and that would be a good thing for the visitors, as they would get a 3rd and 1, or a 3rd and goal at the 1, I should say. Nate Hampton, their quarterback, cashes in early.
Breesock flanked at the right hip of Hampton. He is a thumper. He takes the snap, wheels out to his right, floats it toward the pylon, and it is caught. Touchdown. A backpedaling catch by Anthony Lowe despite good coverage. And with 10:17 to go in the first quarter, Gardner-Webb takes the 6-0 lead.
The extra point was missed, so still a 6-point advantage for Gardner-Webb. Aaron Philo, late in the first quarter, would hook up with Brett Seither for 21 yards, get in plus territory to the 32. Later on in the drive, with 3 minutes remaining in the opening quarter, a 2nd and 9 at the 11, and Philo, what a wonderful pass this was to Isaiah Canyon.
Climbs the pocket, now darts away, throws to the back right corner. It is a catch and a touchdown. Isaiah Canyon, what a dime by Philo, and the Jackets are on the board.
The touch was sublime as he just lofted it to the back corner of the end zone, and Canyon with his first career Georgia Tech touchdown to give the Jackets that 7-6 lead. That would be the score at the end of the first quarter. Second quarter, well, the Jackets on fire, and initially here, with 14 to go in the first half, it was the defense as a 4th and 5 for Gardner-Webb on the Jacket 32, and oh boy, here comes Melvin Jordan.
Georgia Tech walks a linebacker up. He's pressured. He is devoured. Back at the 40. Melvin Jordan never broke stride. Detonated on Hampton to turn over Gardner-Webb on downs.
A huge play there by Jordan. So Tech would take over the ball, still trailing 7-6. 2 plays later, a 2nd and 4 on their own 45. The former Penn Quaker, Malachi Hosley.
2nd down and 4. The snap, the pivot, and the handoff. It's Haynes, explodes up the middle, 40, races on, 25-20, 15-10, 5, house call, make it Malachi Hosley. And stunt on them, Hosley. 13:32 to go, and Tech has the 13-6 lead.
4 rushes in the first half for Malachi, 75 yards in all. Then just a couple of minutes later, 9.5 to be exact, a 1st and 10, and Jamal Haynes says, whatever you can do, I can do better.
Last inside handoff. Haynes rips through 35-30. No one's going to catch him. 10-5. Touchdown, Jamal Haynes.
Jamal now with 8 carries, 86 yards, a couple of touchdowns. That made it 21-6. When I say a couple of touchdowns, that's a foreshadow, because with 4 minutes to go here in the first half, they would have 4 drives, 4 touchdowns, 1st and goal at the 1, and here it is.
The snap, the turn. It's Haynes pounding it behind the right side, and he gets across. Touchdown, Jackets. That's just meat and potatoes football for Georgia Tech. At the goal line, Jamal Haynes' 2nd rushing touchdown of the half, and Georgia Tech stretches the lead to 27-6. 3:59 to go before halftime.
14 rushes in the first half, 162 yards, and 3 touchdowns on the ground. Your halftime highlights brought to you by Emory Healthcare, the healthcare provider for your Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. When we come back, we'll hear from a hot Brent Key, and that is the text that I received from Chris Mooneyham. So we'll let you know what hot means there, and we'll also give you a Georgia Power scoreboard. Things not looking good early on for Clemson in Death Valley. It's the Ramblin' Wreck halftime show on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
One of the toughest jobs in law enforcement is telling a family that a loved one has been killed by a drunk driver. That's why Georgia law enforcement works every day to keep drunk drivers off the road. Every DUI arrest could be one less family to lose someone to drunk driving. You can help. Hand the keys to a designated driver or call a ride service. It saves lives and prevents a costly DUI arrest. Drive sober or get pulled over. Brought to you by the Governor's Office of Highway Safety.
Ever feel like the road is out to... Thankfully, Hyundai is always working to ensure it doesn't, with over 130 IIHS Top Safety Awards since 2006. IIHS Top Safety Awards include Top Safety Pick and Top Safety Pick Plus awards to Hyundai vehicles from 2006 to 2025.
Now for a limited time, get 1.99% APR on the Hyundai Tucson or Tucson Hybrid. Visit your local Hyundai dealer today. Offers end September 30th. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
Hey, it's home team Brandon Leak. You all know that my friends at Georgia's Own Credit Union can save you money, but did you know that Georgia's Own offers more than just checking accounts and auto loans? They also offer products and services to help your business grow. Whether you're looking for a business checking account, equipment loan, commercial mortgage, SBA loan, or payroll services, Georgia's Own can take you from a small shop to a big shot. To learn more, visit georgiasown.org. I'm home team Brandon Leak, and I'm one of Georgia's Own.
Georgia's Own is federally insured by the NCUA and is an equal housing lender. And welcome back. We are live inside Walk-On Sports Bistro, where football season is really heating up.
That's right, Jim, and fans are pouring in, ready to watch the big games.
Walk-On Sports Bistro is the place to watch your favorite college and pro games with wall-to-wall sports, great food, and of course, delicious cocktails.
And nothing goes better with football than 24 Ice Bistro
in the avenues at West Cobb and now in the Battery, Atlanta, where every day is game day.
It's green.
Stream Georgia Tech totally free on the Extra 106.3 app. Available now for Apple and Android. And listen to the Jackets anywhere. Georgia Tech football is back on the field soon. This is the Ramblin' Wreck halftime show. Now let's go around the ACC and the rest of the college football landscape as we check the Georgia Power scoreboard.
And we'll do that momentarily. Justin Hanover back to Bobby Dodd Stadium here at Hyundai Field. The Jackets with the 28-6 lead at the break over Gardner-Webb. Chris Mooneyham caught up with a very hot coach in Brent Key.
Coach, no sunshine and roses out of me. Offense has started to find its stride, but I know those turnovers early killing you.
Well, at least we're freaking consistent.
All right, how about your defense? 12 times you've caught running Bulldogs behind the line of scrimmage. Your defense has been good.
Yeah, that was a big emphasis this week, was getting more negative plays, getting TFLs and sacks. All right, put those guys behind the sticks.
Thanks, Coach. Justin?
All right, thanks, Chris. Appreciate that. Once again, 28-6 Jackets on top. Now to our Georgia Power scoreboard, where every powerful drive is presented by Georgia Power, the official energy sponsor of your Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. ACC play, a lot of games in the books. The ones going on right now, late first half, Wake Forest 21, Western Carolina 3. End of one quarter. How about this? The Troy Trojans 7, Clemson, the number 8 team in the land, nothing. Troy right now, a 4th and 8 at the Clemson 19-yard line. Some earlier finals, number 11 Illinois wallops Duke with a huge second half, 45-19. Number 14 Florida State puts 77 on the board. They develop East Texas A&M 77-3. SMU in overtime loses to Baylor 48-45. NC State 35, Virginia 31. Pittsburgh 45, Central Michigan 17. Eli Holstein with 4 touchdowns. And in a wild comeback, a final in overtime, Syracuse 27, UConn 20. Fran Brown makes the Orange players run wind sprints on the field after the game, but they did get their first win of the season. Once again, the Jackets with the 28-6 lead here at the break. Andy and Andrew coming up next. It's the Ramblin' Wreck Halftime Show on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
Georgia Tech fans, Papa John's has your game day eats covered for the home opener with XL New York-style one-topping pizzas for just $9.99 each. Add your favorite toppings like pepperoni, mushrooms, or bacon to our fresh, never-frozen original dough hand-stretched thinner into 8 oversized foldable slices. This limited-time deal feeds your whole game day crew without wrecking your budget. Be the buzz of the tailgate or watch party as Georgia Tech hosts Gardner-Webb with XL New York-style one-topping pizzas for $9.99 each. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. Go Jackets!
This season, Georgia Tech fans have a new reason to celebrate. Solomon Brothers Jewelers is now the official jeweler of Georgia Tech Athletics. With deep Atlanta roots and a legacy of luxury, we're proud to stand with the Yellow Jackets. Whether you're celebrating a win or a milestone, book your appointment today and experience the Solomon Brothers difference. Visit us in Buckhead, Alpharetta, or Sharpsburg, online at SolomonBrothers.com. Solomon Brothers Jewelers, where tradition meets brilliance.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Real Success. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at ourrealsuccess.com.
Do you want to learn how to make money flipping houses and acquiring rental properties right here in Atlanta without using your own money? You'll learn to flip houses and secure rental properties in your spare time to get on track towards real wealth building. We're offering a handful of motivated individuals the opportunity to attend our workshop right here in Atlanta for free. That's right, we'll give you 2 free tickets when you text FLIP to 64,000. Atlanta is the perfect market to flip houses and build rental income. Don't miss this opportunity. Come to a complimentary live 2-hour workshop next week right here in Atlanta and learn how to start making money flipping homes and building long-term wealth with rental properties. To get 2 free tickets, text FLIP to 64,000. Text in the next 10 minutes, and registrants will also receive a free copy of our Funding for Deals guide. Text FLIP to 64,000 for 2 complimentary tickets. Text FLIP to 64,000.
Georgia Tech football here on Extra 106.3, Atlanta's only conservative talk station that doesn't really suck. Catch us every afternoon, that Kimmer Guy, live at 3 o'clock.
Yellow Jackets football is back on the field soon. Now more of the Ramblin' Wreck Halftime Show on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
As we welcome you back inside the El Cerraldo radio booth for the first time this season. Georgia Tech halftime show, 28-6. Yellow Jackets on top of the Gardner-Webb running Bulldogs in the second ever meeting between the schools. Andy Demetra, Andrew Gardner. You heard Chris Mooneyham with head coach Brent Key to get his walk-off thoughts. Georgia Tech outgained the running Bulldogs 356-132 in the first half. Tech 194 passing yards, 162 rushing yards. Aaron Philo was 12 of 17 for 194 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. That came on the second series. On the first series, Aaron Philo lost a fumble on the second play. So again, just this uncharacteristic and nightmare start for Georgia Tech. At least it wasn't 3 straight possessions with the turnover, Andrew. It was 2 this time. Gardner-Webb was able to capitalize and score a touchdown on its first series. Extra point failed, but Georgia Tech then got rolling. Jamal Haynes, a team-high 8 carries for 86 yards and 2 touchdowns. Malachi Hosley, 4 carries, 75 yards, including a 55-yard touchdown run. Eric Rivers had 1 carry, 1 yard on an end around. Malik Rutherford, team-high 5 receptions for 62 yards. This after not having a catch because of an injury on the first series versus Colorado. He was tied with Demarius Thomas and Kerry Watkins for 4th in school history with 29 consecutive games with a reception. He's making it up and then some in the first half. Zion Taylor had 1 catch, but it went for 45 yards. Brett Seiler had 1 catch. It went for 26. A catch apiece for Stockton, Rivers, Canyon, Haynes, and Patterson. So Aaron Fano has sprayed his 12 completions among 8 different receivers for those 194 yards. Georgia Tech, 3 sacks, 9 TFLs against Gardner-Webb, and quarterback Nate Hampton, who was 6 of 9 for 45 yards and a touchdown. Cole Pennington, the son of Chad Pennington, got the 3rd series. He went 2 of 3 for 20 yards. Quayshawn Holmes coming off a 116-yard rushing day versus Western Carolina, 11 carries for 31 yards. Nate Hampton, 7 carries for 27. Carson Greasock, 6 for 16. Leading receiver for the Running Bulldogs, Anthony Lowe, had 4 catches, 38 yards, and that touchdown. Defensively for Georgia Tech, their top tackler was Melvin Jordan IV with 4. That included a half sack and half TFL. Kyle Eifert had 4 tackles as well. The sacks were from Akilo Stone, a half sack for Braden Manley, and a sack for Christian Garrett, the true freshman from Monroe, Georgia, former 4-star out of Prince Avenue Christian. 28-6, Georgia Tech on top, and look at that. The sun is finally returning and breaking through the clouds, Andrew, at Bobby Dodd Stadium at Hyundai Field.
It's a beautiful afternoon here at Bobby Dodd. Everything is right with the world. Georgia Tech up 28-6. You know, it's been they've been on fire and it's been ugly, right? Yep. There's been miscues and there's been explosives. There have been 6 penalties by Georgia Tech. 2 holding penalties, 2 false starts, a block in the back, and then 2 turnovers. On the other side, there's been 10 offensive plays of over 15 yards, including a 45-yard pass to Zion Taylor, a 55-yard rushing touchdown by Hosley, and a 55 by Hosley and a 47-yard touchdown run by Jamal Haynes. So kind of a tale of 2 teams. If they could clean it up, I mean, an explosive offense, ton of tackles for loss, but they got to clean up those mistakes and miscues that have happened early in this game.
I think this will be a second half where Georgia Tech is trying to play to its standard. We'll see how that unfolds in just a moment as Tech receives the second half kickoff following this on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
The passion, the tradition, the rivalries. Sirius XM is your destination for all things college sports, and we've got you covered. On ACC Radio, there is complete coverage of every school in the conference, including live games, coaches' shows, and more. So cheer along on the Sirius XM app and listen to your favorite team anywhere. And now you can get 3 months of Sirius XM free. Subscribe now. See all for details at SiriusXM.com/ACC Sports.
What's the best kind of money? Well, how about instant money? With Quick Win's Instant 50 promotion, you can win a progressive jackpot instantly and win $50 instantly just for playing. Now through September 14th, there will be 2,000 instant winners a week. Look for the prize alert on your ticket and listen for this sound.
You're a winner!
That means you won $50 on the spot. It all ends September 14th, so hurry and play Quick Win from the Georgia Lottery. Play responsibly.
Hey, it's Los. We're here with Tom Mitchell, the honest car guy. Tom, I've learned a lot about this car buying process from you. Is that typical of most of the clients you've worked with?
Yeah, I'm finding out it's even more typical. I mean, people are learning more and more, and maybe it's because I overload them with information because I want to be able to sleep at night. I want to make sure you know everything.
Do I have to have a particular make and model in mind when I call you, or is it just open to anything I want?
It's open. I can get any make, any year, any model.
I might be looking to trade in my vehicle. Can you accommodate that as the honest car guy?
For sure. I mean, we love it when people want to trade in cars because, honestly, it's best for you to trade in a car. Why? Because you get a tax savings.
Friends, if you're in the market for a pre-owned car, truck, or SUV, get an honest car buy from the honest car guy. You pay what we pay, plus an honest fee, and we back that up by giving you the bill of sale. That's our transparency guarantee. Call 844-SHOW-ME-1. That's 844-SHOW-ME, the number 1, or visit honestcarguy.com. Hey, it's Los. Enjoy the game and then join Tug and I every weekday morning, 6 to 10 on the Morning Extra on Extra 106.3 and the Extra 106.3 app.
This presentation of Georgia Tech football is a copywritten presentation of the Georgia Institute of Technology, Legend Sports, and Dickey Broadcasting Company. Any accounts, use, or rebroadcast of this presentation without written permission of Georgia Tech or Legend Sports is strictly prohibited. Now, toe meets leather as we head back to the field for the second half. Once again, here's the voice of the Yellow Jackets, Andy Demetra.
Georgia Tech works from left to right in this third quarter. Before the second half begins, let's pause 10 seconds for station ID. This is Georgia Tech football.
Yellow Jackets football is on now. WFOM and W292EB Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station, Extra 106.3.
Shane Marshall, Dalen Gordon stationed along the hashes to our left. 28-6, Georgia Tech on top in the 113th home opener at Bobby Dodd Stadium at Hyundai Field. Rail, the kickoff specialist, bounce to the team and sends a line drive knuckler. It bounces at the 15, short hops all the way past Marshall and into the end zone. And he drops to a knee for the touchback.
That was a dangerous play on that return. If he doesn't cover that ball up, that's an opportunity for a Gardner-Webb touchdown, but fortunately able to get back to it in time. No harm, no foul.
The Tech from left to right. Aaron Fano, 12 of 17, 194 yards, one touchdown passing, one interception. Georgia Tech continuing to gouge yards on the ground as they average 11.6 yards a carry. Jamal Haynes will be the standing tail beside Philo. Tight ends bracket the line as Stockton shoots in motion. Clap to Philo, wheels out right. Throws the out, has a man wide open. It is caught at the 50 and streaking down the sideline goes Rivers. 30, 25, 20, 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Eric Rivers. A flag was thrown, though, on the break, and this might be coming back on offensive pass interference, but we shall see.
Yeah, that flag is dropped right at the break point of that route.
Now, Chris Winkie down there as his palms turned up. So wipes out the 75-yard touchdown, which would have been Eric Rivers' first as a Yellow Jacket. And backs up the Jackets once again on their 7th penalty of the game. Taking another look here. And, he just came out of his break, and his cover man...
It looked like he just fell down.
Yeah, kind of fell down, but, he had the hand in the back, and so that might have... sold the contact a little bit.
It's kind of like the basketball push-off. Like, did the elbow extend? I feel no, but obviously the white hat and his friends down there disagree.
Half the distance, 1st and 22. Haynes holstered in the pistol behind Philo. Takes the snap, and again rolls out right. He's being pursued, now throws, leaping catch along the right sideline. Climbing the ladder goes Taylor up to the 21, and a gain of 9. Zion Taylor's first 2 career receptions went for a net of 2 yards. A completion he had and a reception in the first half went for a nifty 45. That goes for 9 and is 2nd down and 14.
The yards per catch are growing at an exponential rate for Zion Taylor. At this rate, he's going to be getting 150 yards per catch.
They'll be threatening the school record. Rivers along the numbers right. Stockton slot left. 2nd down and 14 from the Tech 21. Orbit motion from Taylor as he bubbles around Philo. Fakes the touch pass to him. Standing in, zipping it down the left side. Caught by Stockton. 40. And shaken out of bounds at the 45. That's a first down. The former high school teammates connecting. Bailey Stockton from Aaron Philo.
And Aaron Philo has done a fantastic job today just dropping the ball over second-level defenders. Just right over the linebackers in front of the safeties. That's the 4th or 5th time today. Really good touch on those medium routes.
Stockton, who led Tech with 4 receptions last week. Hosley, the sidecar orbit motion from Haynes. An inside handoff. Hosley breaks right 50. Yanked down by the shoulder pads. Finally wrestled down at the 46. No flag for a horse collar, but he does gain 9. Saban McLaughlin got the tackle. Maybe fortunately he didn't get a penalty as well. The Davidson transfer, redshirt junior cornerback.
Georgia Tech coming back to that split backs look that they used way back in the first quarter. Similar action, this time using the misdirection to Haynes to give the ball back to Hosley.
Once again, offset eye. Hosley and Haynes under center. Quick hitter Hosley bursts up the middle, slips a tackle at the 40. Yanked down from behind at the 38 as he tries to peel off to his right to the 38 and a gain of 8 for Hosley.
Georgia Tech using that strong I formation again. They used this formation on a 3rd and short versus Colorado last week and handed it to the fullback Malachi Hosley coming around weak. This time just a simple fullback dive, and the timing messes up the defense.
Condensed formation. They now push the receivers out wide. Empty set for Philo. 1st and 10 Tech at the Gardner-Webb 38. Snap back chest high. Retreats along the right hash, pumps, dumps underneath on the cross. It's caught at the 34. That's Beetham from left to right. Make that Luke Harpring. He was tackled by Jackson Marshall, who transferred from, of all places, Marshall University. And it's a gain of 5.
And Luke Harpring doing what tight ends should do, making difficult catches over the middle in space around linebackers, making them pay the price for him catching it.
A slot left in front of 2nd and 5. Inside handoff, Haynes has a block. He's ankle tackled from behind across the 30, down to the 28. He'll gain the first down. He was clipped from behind by Q Billingsley, the Kennesaw State transfer. Had he not swiped at his heels, though, it would have been 6 in a blink for Jamal Haynes.
Oh, Malachi Hosley out in front, lead blocking, but he ended up slowing down his teammate Jamal Haynes just a little bit. A little bit of friendly frustration on that one.
Now Hosley flanked at the left pivot of Philo. Unbalanced line left. 1st and 10. Here's the snap. And on the jet sweep, it's Jamal Haynes bending out left. Another penalty flag tossed behind the play as Haynes gets mashed to the turf after a gain of 2 to the 26. It looks like another hold going against the Jackets. This time it's on Joe Fusel. I think the fans getting frustrated with maybe the scrutiny their blocking is getting. Because it looked like he just, blocked somebody into the turf, and we're seeing the replay. It was on the backside of the play.
I'll tell you something that this officiating crew has been consistent about calling is when a guy goes to the ground and the ball is on the defender side, if that makes sense. So the blocker, then the defender, and then the ball is on the other side. When that guy is going to the ground, they are reading that as holding just about every time.
So 1st and 20, 3 receivers triangle to the left of Philo. Surveys the line, rockets the screen to Patterson up the left hash, but he is blown up, pushed back to the 40, and a loss of 3. Now Gardner-Webb smoked out that tunnel screen to Dean Patterson, the FIU transfer, and Georgia Tech continues to go in the wrong direction on this opening drive of the 3rd quarter. Still on top 28-6, inside of 11 minutes to go, but it's 2nd and 23. Dalen Gordon now comes in. He's the pistol back behind Philo. 3 receivers tight to the right. Taylor jets in motion to snap back to Philo. Ranges back, throws the out route, and it is incomplete. It almost was picked off. Trying to find that comeback route to Taylor, working up the left sideline. Jonathan Robinson laid out. The Elon transfer unable to reel it in, but it's 3rd down.
Georgia Tech needs to find a way to wrestle back some of this field position to make this an easier decision on 4th down.
Going quick, trips right. A snap to Philo, scanning and tossing right flat to Gordon. Up past the 35 and helicopter down around the 36. It'll be 4th down from the 36-yard line. This would be a 53-yard attempt, potentially for Aiden Burr, who was good from 32 and 43 last week. Georgia Tech still keeping the offense on, though. 10-19 and counting, 3rd quarter, and Tech on top 28-6. Line to gain is the Gardner-Webb 18. Stockton the slot left. Harpring, the tight end, slot right. Play clock is down to 14 as Gardner-Webb overloads the left side of the line. See if they bring a rush on Philo. Snap to Philo. He ranges back, throws the cross as a man wide open, and Rivers to the 25, escapes the tackle to the 20, but stopped 2 yards shy of the 1st down. With that quick-hitting cross to Rivers, but just couldn't escape a second tackle, and Georgia Tech gets turned over on downs. 9:50 remaining, 3rd quarter, but still 28-6.
It's a good idea to give the ball to one of your best athletes in space. Not a lot in the playbook for 4th and 19. Georgia Tech, honestly, a lot of good on that drive, but going in the wrong direction with the penalties. And at this point in the game, 7 of Georgia Tech's 8 penalties have been on offense.
Yeah, it hasn't been artistic, but they still have the lead 28-6 as we've hit timeout on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
Here comes the Ramblin' Wreck. My family and I love watching Georgia Tech football. though it's hard to choose between the big screen at home and the excitement of being in the stands. Either way, Scana Energy's part of the action as a proud partner of Georgia Tech. So join Scana and my family in cheering on the Yellow Jackets this season. Sign up with Scana today and get up to $100. Call 877-GO-SCANA or visit scanaenergy.com/jackets for details. Limited time offer. Terms and conditions apply.
It's Dari from R.S. Andrews. And people always ask, what's the R.S. and R.S. Andrews stand for? R.S. means rapid service. I know what it's like waiting for a repair guy to show up, so I made sure when you call us, we have somebody ready to jump to action. Rapid service. Your AC needs to keep working for several more weeks. So if you're hearing a clunk, clank, or smelling some stank, we're ready to help. RS means rapid service. Schedule at rsandrews.com.
Stream Georgia Tech totally free on the Extra 106.3 app. Available now for Apple and Android. And listen to the Jackets anywhere. The Ramblin' Wreck keeps trucking along. It's Georgia Tech football on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
Hyundai is proud to be the official partner of Georgia Tech Athletics with our shared vision of the future through innovation and progress. Hyundai and the Yellow Jackets are sure to make a great team. Hyundai and Georgia Tech. It's our journey. Back inside the El Serraldo radio booth, Andy Demetra, Andrew Gardner, Chris Mooneyham on the sidelines. 9:50 third quarter. Tech the 28-6 lead over Gardner-Webb. So down to Chris for an update.
All right, gentlemen, updates on some of the guys we talked about in the first half and last week with injuries. Malik Rutherford was checked out at the half just to make sure that he was okay after last week's lower body injury. He will be good to go as long as this game is competitive, of course. Meanwhile, Braden Manley was looked at once again, his left wrist. He is good to go as long as the club needs him. You'd imagine that Manley will still continue to play some heavy snaps in this second half. Meanwhile, I just witnessed a conversation between the offensive staff and the two main running backs today, Malachi Holsey and Jamal Haynes. You wonder how long each of those two men will go if this lead balloons up to 4 or 5 touchdowns in second half play.
And Jamal Haynes, Malachi Hosley right now, Chris, an identical 92 rushing yards. Haynes has 2 scores, Hosley 1. So following the turnover on downs, Gardner-Webb takes over at its own 20. Cole Pennington, the redshirt junior backup, comes on. He was 2 for 3 for 20 yards on his lone series. A stack to his left with one receiver beyond him. Holmes, hands on thigh pads beside him. Here's the clap, the swivel, and the give to Holmes. He slants right across the 20 to the 24. Tackled by Clayton Powell-Lee. Ball scores loose at the end of the play. Georgia Tech saying they fell on it and that it was a lost fumble. They'll unpile the bodies. Clayton Powell-Lee might have punched that ball free. And it's Georgia Tech football. So once again, Georgia Tech on the sudden change, able to jam that ball loose. As we see the slow motion replay on the video board, some question whether Holmes' back was already on the turf, but on the field called a fumble and a recovery by the Jackets. They'll take over at the Gardner-Webb 25.
You always got to be attacking the ball on defense, and that's why you rally and tackle as a team, so there's bodies there when the ball comes loose. I didn't see who recovered, but was it a fumble to a linebacker? Was someone's prediction right on the money?
Yeah, your make the read. You've been known to correctly forecast some of those plays.
Georgia Tech's not the only thing winning today.
Oh, boy. Go to the pay window. Andrew Gardner, 9:31 third quarter, and they are going to review this up top here to see if that lost fumble will stand. Georgia Tech did not force a turnover last week, and they played so stoutly on defense last year, but that was in spite of a low turnover count. They finished 117th in the nation with 11 total turnovers forced.
Yeah, the Georgia Tech defense last year and this year has played solidly. A big improvement on that side of the ball.
They do uphold the call. It'll be 1st and 10, Georgia Tech. It was Clayton Powell-Lee with the force and Matthew Alexander with the recovery, so it was a defensive lineman. Yeah.
So close.
I regret to inform you, but good way for Alexander to announce himself in the box score. The native of Buford, but the transfer from UCF, where he spent 3 years and, in fact, had 3 tackles against Georgia Tech in the Gasparilla Bowl.
That's why they wanted to get him. I'll tell you, Andy, I'm happy to be wrong every time if it means Georgia Tech's defense is forcing turnovers. I don't have to be right as long as they're getting the football.
So back comes the Tech offense, left to right, left hash at the Gardner-Webb 25. Hosley squats behind Philo in the pistol, 2 receivers and the tight end right. He waves Taylor in motion, swivels and delivers to Hosley, bending right. He's wrapped up across the 25 and down to the 24. A gain of just 1. The tackle on the play was by Javen Griffin, a Mississippi Valley State transfer, 6'4", 305-pound redshirt junior.
And that Georgia Tech offensive line doing a good job getting a horizontal displacement on the wide zone scheme, but just not sustaining that block long enough. Javen Griffin able to jump off and make that short tackle.
Double tight end right, empty backfield for Philo. Takes the snap, opens his hips, screens it up the left hash to Taylor. He cuts upfield to the 20. 19 is where he's dragged down, and a gain of 5. Third catch of the night for Zion Taylor, the redshirt sophomore from Norcross. Antonio O'Berry pursues him, the defensive end from Dayton, Ohio. Led Gardner-Webb in sacks last year. No surprise, the native of Dayton would lead a team in sacks because another man who called Dayton his hometown, Marco Coleman. Georgia Tech's all-time leader in career sacks.
Deep in the bag.
Oh, that's deep in the well, brother. Stack receivers on each side in front of 3rd and 4. Tech needs to reach the Gardner-Webb 15. Inside give. Juking is Hosley. He stretches out, but only down to the 17. That'll be shy of the first down. Needed 4 and got 2, but Georgia Tech will keep the offense on.
Georgia Tech has done a nice job today fitting that counter game, being able to get those pullers around and get linebackers covered up. This time, not as much, not able to be secure on that second level, a little loose with those fits, allows for that play to be a smaller gain.
Double tight end, both loaded up on the right. Jet sweep motion. Cradling, running up the middle is Philo, breaks the tackle at the 10, bounces off another tackle down to the 5. He's got the first down. A 12-yard pickup on 4th and 2 from Philo.
That's a really nice fourth down play call by Buster Faulkner. Something we're used to seeing with Haynes King all the time. Aaron Philo hasn't really used his legs. They were less ready for that from a Georgia Tech team than ever.
So 1st and goal for Georgia Tech. Right hash at the 5. 7:22 third quarter. Tech leads 28-6. Once again, broken eye right. The tail of the tandem is Haynes. Misdirection. Bust up the gut by Hosley. And he pounds his way in for the touchdown. To rack up a second rushing touchdown for Malachi Hosley as he took that misdirection and barreling his way behind right guard Keelan Rutledge for the score. It's 34-6 Tech with 7:12 to go in the third quarter.
And that was really well blocked on the right side by Keelan Rutledge and Malachi Carney. And the timing of that kind of fullback distance handoff is something that Gardner-Webb is having trouble adjusting to. Great play, great run by Malachi Hosley.
Running behind a block of a Malachi.
It's the Malachi connection.
It's the Malachi package. Extra point good by Burr. 7:12 to go in our second quarter. Well, Malachi Hosley with that plunge from 5 yards out gives him an even 100 rushing yards on 9 carries and 2 touchdowns. Jamal Haynes not far behind. He's got 9 carries, 92 yards, and a pair of rushing scores. It was 7:12 to go in the third quarter. Tech leads Gardner-Webb 35-6. We are back after this on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
Renaissance Rewards Extra is the checking account that checks all the boxes. Roadside assistance? Check. Cell phone insurance? Check. More than 400,000 local shopping discounts? Check. Up to $25 per month in ATM refunds and a great rate? Check. All in an easy-to-use mobile app. To open an account or find out more about Renaissance Rewards Extra Checking, go to renaissancebank.com or visit us at any of our more than 190 locations throughout the South. Renaissance Bank. Understanding you. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Georgia Natural Gas knows there's strength in numbers. Like one tree is good, but a whole forest helps the entire planet. And one person doing their part for the environment is nice, but when we all get together, big things can happen. That's what our Greener Life program is built on. You can reduce your home's carbon footprint just by paying your gas bill. And the more people who join, the greener life becomes for everyone. See what I did there? Join today and get 12 months free. Visit gng.com/green.
Go Jackets. Hey, it's Tug. Join me and Los every weekday morning, 6 to 10 on the Morning Extra here on Extra 106.3 and the Extra 106.3 app.
From every huge touchdown to every epic stop. It's Georgia Tech football, driven by Hyundai on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
Georgia Tech versus its first turnover of the season. A forced fumble by Clayton Powell-Lee. The recovery by Matthew Alexander, and they cash in a 5-play, 25-yard drive. Final 5 covered on the ground by Malachi Hosley, his second rushing touchdown of the night. And following the extra point, Tech holds the 35-6 lead over Gardner-Webb with 7:12 remaining in the third quarter. Time to check in on our Papa John's Who's Delivering. Brought to you by Papa John's. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's. And I think you got to go right to Malachi Hosley. 9 carries, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. I asked him this week, and you heard our pregame interview with him, but I asked him afterwards, you were a workhorse back at Penn, were Ivy League Player of the Year last season. Did the fact that you'd be joining a backfield that featured a 2-time All-ACC running back in Jamal Haynes and a quarterback, though he hasn't played today, who's far from run-averse in Haynes King, give you misgivings about Georgia Tech as the destination? And he said not at all, because he looked at Ohio State last year when they won the national title. They had Quinshon Judkins and Travion Henderson, both eventual NFL draft picks, who split the carries, and they both got plenty of spotlight shined on them. He envisioned that for himself with Jamal Haynes and the rest of the running back core, and both he and Jamal certainly showcasing their skills today. As the kickoff sails from left to right by Burr, and toward the back line for another touchback, which I thought was a very mature response for a guy like Malachi Hosley.
What would you expect from a guy that went to Penn and now wants to go to Georgia Tech? Clearly a very smart guy. But, that's smart. There's plenty of rushing yards to go around, and you can never, ever have enough quality running backs.
You know who also played 2 seasons of football at Penn? Was John Heisman. And he only wrapped up his career at Penn. He played 2 seasons at Brown. Now, he transferred to Penn because they didn't offer a law degree at Brown, but I would like to make the point that for all the carping and caterwauling about transfers nowadays, even John Heisman was technically a transfer. Pennington is the quarterback standing in the shotgun. Snap is whistled back to him. Short drop. Lofts it down the right sideline, and a comeback catch made at the 37-yard line for a first down. That's Jabre Bevino, 6'3 junior out of Fullerton, California. Amari Harvey a little late on his break, and it's 12 yards and a first down.
Well, Pennington doing his Aaron Philo impersonation and dropping that over the linebacker. A nice ball from him. First really kind of quality play we've seen out of him thus far. Measures
up a 4-man front with Brown beside him. Motions him out. Throws the slant. It is caught by Lowe, cutting from left to right, and pulled down at the 46, a gain of 9. Team leading 5th reception by Anthony Lowe. Spent 4 years at Tiffin University with his head coach Chris Reiser. Had 179 career catches across those 4 years. Up to the line quickly go the running Bulldogs. 2nd and 1 from the Georgia Tech the Gardner-Webb 46. 2 receivers in tight. A snap and a retreat by Pennington, and he underthrows a little dump off in the left flat, trying to find Quayshawn Holmes. Awkward throw. He was backpedaling, threw off his back foot, and his 3rd down and 1.
And that brings up a 3rd and short. Georgia Tech has stopped Gardner-Webb on 7 straight 3rd down attempts. Their last completed 3rd down attempt was in 7:10 in the first quarter. They've got their work cut out through my 3rd and very short.
Holmes at the right rear of Pennington to clap the snap and the give to Holmes. He spins off a tackle and falls backwards to the 49 for a first down. So that finally breaks the streak of failed 3rd down conversions. A nice job just to spin to the left of the initial traffic by Quayshawn Holmes. And a fresh set of downs for the running Bulldogs. Less than 6 minutes, 3rd quarter. Tech on top 35-6. Slot to the short side left. The snap to Pennington. Holds the mesh. Fades the throw. Another comeback route. Puts some loft on it. But it's caught at the 40-yard line. They'll say out of bounds on that attempted catch by Caleb Borders.
Borders not able to get his foot down. They run the deep comeback, but they don't leave themselves enough space on the edge there. You have what's called the red line, which is a line about 5 yards inside. You got to ride that when you're going to do out-breaking routes near the sideline. Just too wide on that route.
This time, Pennington deploys a slot to his right, 1 left. Georgia Tech showing blitz. Here they come from Evert off the edge. Pennington collapsed and sacked from the blind side at the 41-yard line. And give that sack to a Montre Bradford, the sophomore from Statesboro, coming with some malice on Pennington.
And Bradford just beats him with a straight speed rush, just just high and vertical off the edge, just a little rip move. Good speed by the young defensive lineman, and a big sack on second down to bring up third and very long.
Yeah, he blew right by the Walton High graduate Will Fitzpatrick. It's third down and 16 with 5:27 and counting third quarter. Twins left a receiver right for Pennington, the son of former NFL veteran Chad Pennington. Fakes the draw, loads and throws over the middle, caught at the 45 of the Jackets and stretching out close to the first down marker. They'll say the knee from Lofton went down at the 42, but it brings up fourth down and 1.
Georgia Tech back to stopping them on third down, but now it's going to require a stop on fourth down. Again, fourth and a short 1 for Gardner-Webb.
Gardner-Webb, fourth in the FCS last year. They converted 21 fourth downs. They'll empty out the backfield initially for Pennington. He does have his workhorse back, Holmes, in the slot left. Trips right. Play clock is at 15 as Tech rushes on some additional personnel. They now motion Holmes to the left tip of Pennington. Play clock at 5. Fourth down and 1 from the Tech 42. Here's the snap, the give. Holmes bursts up the middle and has a crease across the 40, 35 as he runs right down to the 33. Tay Harris closed off the tackle, but the good burst off the right side by the running Bulldogs, and they extend the drive.
And in an effort to get that stop on 4th and 1, Georgia Tech doesn't quite fit all the gaps. It allows for a slightly bigger run, or a bigger run on 4th and 1.
Right hash at the Georgia Tech 33. Shotgun snap to Pennington, twiddles and finds the laces. Another gun slant gunned over the middle, caught at the 30 and slipped down at the 25. Chris Lofton for a gain of 8. Lofton, redshirt sophomore from Columbia, South Carolina. Spent the previous 2 years at James Madison. Did not have a catch for the Dukes. Had 3 catches, a team-high 102 receiving yards in his Gardner-Webb debut last week. Low the motion man in front of 2nd and 2. Griesach is now the standing tail. He motions out, Pennington to the air. He's chased out of the pocket, guns it into the flat, incomplete. Skip that at the shoe tops of Low. The pressure came from Akilo Stone to force him out of the pocket.
And Akilo Stone pleading his case, trying to make a rip move underneath the offensive lineman. A little arm around the outside. His pleas fall on deaf ears, but Georgia Tech, another big third down against this Gardner-Webb offense, and a Pennington who has looked much sharper on this drive than he had in his chances earlier in the game.
Yeah, Pennington is now 6 of 10. He was 1 for 3, 29 yards and an interception in his Gardner-Webb debut last week. They now go shotgun split backs. Griesach to the right, Holmes to the left. The snap and the give. Griesach picks his way through tacklers up the middle across the 20, stumbles past the 15 and down to the 9 for a first down. Well, he got downhill quick, and it goes for a pickup of 16, first and goal, Gardner-Webb. They line up quickly with twin backs once again. Snap to Pennington, puts it in the belly of Griesach, but a penalty flag thrown. I think there might have been some motion up front by the running Bulldogs. So the right tackle, Will Fitzpatrick, going a little too quick for their own good. So it makes it first and goal from the 14, 3:09. In our third quarter, 35-6, Tech leads.
A lot of Bulldog offensive players getting a little too anxious on that play. A lot of bodies leaning forward. I think he could have called it on several players, but a chance for this Georgia Tech defense to catch its breath, try to make a stand here in the red zone.
And concede 5 yards of field position in the process. Holmes, a team-high 48 rushing yards. They go out of the power pistol this time. Haven't seen this look yet from the running Bulldogs. Inside handoff, Griesach pinballs his way across the 10 and finally hauled down at the 9. Gain of 5 from Griesach. Jason Moore, redshirt senior deep tackle with the stop. Griesach, 5'11", redshirt junior, Columbus, Ohio. Had a 134-yard rushing game last year versus Presbyterian. Also played hockey in high school, and you can tell he doesn't mind contact. He comes out. Holmes will be the lone setback. Second and goal from the 9. 3 receivers wide left. A receiver up top on the right for Pennington. Takes the snap, biding his time. Here comes pressure. Smoked out to his left. Flag is thrown, but he's dropped from behind and sacked at the 20. It's a Montre Branford with his second sack of the series.
And Amontre Bradford, just given the tackles for Gardner-Webb, fits. This last time he beats him with speed. This time he gets an up and under on the other tackle. He's just been too fast for the offensive line of Gardner-Webb and the quarterbacks to handle.
A 5th sack of the game and a second for the sophomore from Statesboro, Georgia. You know, he didn't have a tackle against Colorado, and that's a shame because Amontre Bradford, Andrew, was a signing day flip from Colorado to Tech. But he got the right result. Georgia Tech declines the holding penalty. 3rd and goal from the 18. As Gardner-Webb moves right to left with 1:56 in the third quarter. Tech leads 35-6. 2-2 set for Pennington. Instead, Chad teammates with Andrew on the Miami Dolphins back in 2009. Gardner-Webb 4-13 on 3rd down today. Holmes folded over beside him. Georgia Tech walks a linebacker up. They now back off. Pennington again pressured, steps up, and he gets spun down and sacked again at the 30. It's Akilo Stone with a party in the backfield. And Stone with his second sack, or second TFL of the afternoon.
And Akilo Stone, after clamoring for a holding call last time he was on the field, able to get home for the TFL. This Georgia Tech defensive line coming up big on that series.
And consecutive sacks after his 1st and goal from the 9. Keel had that big TFL inside the red zone against Colorado. Field goal unit is on. Viorel just right of center to attempt a 45-yarder. He missed from 41, was good from 22 last week. Set down for him. Somebody jumped in the neutral zone as the kick is booted up. It is fading off wide right, no good. But it'll be an offside against the Jackets. And he'll have a chance to re-kick this. And it had the leg. But again, more just lack of discipline by Georgia Tech.
That's another one of those penalties that is going to drive Coach Key insane. Penalties that allow people to put points on the board or give them another chance to put points on the board are the kind of penalties you cannot have.
That was Amari Harvey who fired off early. And so now it'll be a 40-yard field goal. Harvey almost got a block of an extra point last week versus Colorado. Maybe he had that in his mind here. Kicking towards the Georgia Tech student section is Viorel. He says he's ready. Snap is zipped back, set down, booted up, and it's blocked. Bouncing and scooped up by the Jackets. They take off with it. Open field, 30, 25. Who is it? It's Amari Harvey with the score.
Amari Harvey comes back on the next play and totally redeems himself. Makes a big blocked kick return for a touchdown. I said, I'm sorry, Coach. How about I just score 6 instead?
That is one way to get back in the good graces of your special teams coordinator, Tim Salem. After the offsides penalty gave a more manageable field goal distance, Vandenberg got the block, and the recovery and scoop and score by Amari Harvey to make it 41-6, 36 seconds left in the third quarter.
I didn't see that coming, Andy. I mean, I was thinking Coach Key's going to be upset. Now they get 3 points, and couldn't have been better.
Well, he's gone from a boil, I think, to a simmer now.
Yeah, that's true.
Following that turn of events. Extra point good by Birds, 42-6, Tech on top. Georgia Tech. Now, sometimes you go from the horns to the cape, from goat to hero in the matter of one play. Amari Harvey, after the block from Vandenberg, the recovery, and did they give that to Rivers or to Harvey? I think it was Harvey. But regardless, 42-6, Georgia Tech leads it. With 36 seconds to go in the third quarter, we're back after this in the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
We're smart, we care. We're Central Heating and Air.
Now, I know there are plenty of HVAC companies out there, but let me tell you why Central Heating and Air Conditioning stands out from the rest. These days, it's hard to tell who's on first. Everybody wants to play. Many of the local HVAC companies, though, have been sold to large conglomerates. And some are even coming back under new names. But at Central Heating and Air Conditioning, they never left the field. They've been your hometown team since 1947. And their dedication to our community has never wavered. They are the grand slam you can count on. Central's team of experts know the game inside and out, delivering dependable service and personalized solutions every time. So don't get caught off base. Choose the HVAC team that's always been in the game. Get Carrier products, Carrier warranty, and Carrier peace of mind. Turn to your Atlanta Carrier experts, Central Heating and Air Conditioning. Call them today, 770-GET-HEAT, or visit them online at centralheat.com.
We're smart, we care. We're Central Heating and Air.
For everyone.
Hey, it's Pete Davis. Glad you're here for Georgia Tech football on Extra 106.3. We'll see you weekdays at 3 o'clock sharp.
Let's get back to the Jackets. More Georgia Tech football, driven by Hyundai on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
A 65-yard scoop and score off the blocked field goal attempt of Amari Harvey, the redshirt senior from Tallahassee, Florida, who one play earlier was whistled for an offside that moved the ball up 5 yards and gave the place kicker Violet a chance at a 40-yard field goal, but Vandenberg got the block, the recovery, and off to the races was Amari Harvey for what we believe, Andrew, was Georgia Tech's first blocked field goal that was returned for a touchdown since the miracle on Techwood in 2015 versus Florida State. I started in 2016. I don't recall another blocked field goal that went to the house. We might have to crowdsource this to those listening, but that might have been the very first blocked kick touchdown returns. Lance Austin. This Bobby Dodd Stadium crowd on tilt on the miracle on Techwood.
Well, this is like a therapy session for me. Y'all were bringing up all my bad Gardner-Webb memories earlier. Now let's bring up great memories like the miracle on Techwood. I appreciate that. More good things, Andy.
No kid. Well, and it won't go as a turnover, but it will go for a special teams touchdown. So Georgia Tech will gladly take that as they now extend the lead to 42-6 with 36 seconds to go in the third quarter.
Well, like you said, in the books, not a turnover, but more, again, we talk about wanting the defense or special teams in this case to create more havoc. That's twice this game, something that didn't happen versus Colorado, an encouraging sign of Georgia Tech just creating a little havoc on the defensive side of the ball.
And give Jordan Vandenberg credit for the blocked kick as he just pulverized the middle of that line.
He should have used an offensive lineman's head. He's been using them for tackles. He should also use them for blocking kicks.
The kickoff on the way from Burr as he again drills this from left to right. Lofting short, but a fair catch windmilled for a step inside the end zone just outside the hash by Lowe. I don't think we will have quite the suspense or drama that we had when these teams first met, as we have a Yellow Jacket player on special teams down, clutching his right leg at the 15-yard line, and that is Will Kiker. With a great special teams tackle on a kick return earlier this game. And then we'll have Brent Key marching out from the sideline to check on Kiker. He'll elevate his leg. The athletic trainer Mark Smith. Brent Kimball out there tending to Kiker.
Yeah, Andy, I don't think this will be quite the nail biter that my last experience with Gardner-Webb was, and even when they made their 35-7 comeback last week, that started in the second quarter. That started early in the game.
As they propped it down, Yellow Jacket to his feet, that was in fact Chris Elko. He is walking off under his own power, who delivered maybe one of the most spectacular spring game performances of any Georgia Tech wide receiver 2 years ago. A tale that Al Serraldo Jr. will tell his grandkids one day. And that started the Al Serraldo, Chris Elko for Heisman campaign that day.
Well, good to see Chris up and healthy.
Yes. So back comes Pennington with an offset and a back to his right. The quarter turn. RPO, gunned over the middle on the slant. Nifty leaping catch by Lowe as he broke in from the right hash. He hauled that in and dove ahead to the 39 for a gain of 14. Lowe's got some good ball skills.
Yeah, Gardner-Webb coming back with a similar attack, letting Pennington hit the quick game underneath.
Pick up a 14 in the first down. 14 seconds to go, third quarter. As Georgia Tech stems. Another RPO, this time a fade down the right side on the back shoulder and a twisting catch by Lowe inside Tech territory at the 42.
And you just said it before, Andy. Anthony Lowe has some nice ball skills and has caught several difficult passes, including the touchdown today. And I don't think you and I are the only ones to see it. Coach Reiser just trying to feed his number one wide receiver right now, get a little something going between Pennington and Lowe.
That was Will Kiker in coverage, and I think we're seeing Brent Key give some more reps to some of the guys lower in the depth chart. Shameik Jones is in at one defensive end spot with 7 seconds on a frozen clock in the third quarter. 1st and 10, Gardner-Webb at the Tech 41. Trips left for Pennington. Surveys the front, drops back 3. Loads, throws, and he arches one down the left sideline, caught at the 29 for another first down. That was from Lofton. Gain of 12 as that takes us to the end of the third quarter. Georgia Tech able to extend the lead with a pair of touchdowns. A run from Malachi Hosley and a run off a blocked field goal from Amari Harvey. And with that, we head to the final quarter at Bobby Dodd Stadium at Hyundai Field with Tech on top of Gardner-Webb 42-6. Back after this on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
It's not a trait. It's not a talking point. Here, toughness is a tradition. It's woven into the white and gold, defines everything we do on the flats. Toughness is timeless. Take away the glitz, the flash, the attention, the adulation. Only toughness can lead to greatness. And here, we have more of it than you know. It's forged some of our greatest successes, elevated us beyond what others expect. From a kick, to a lead, to a miracle. Hall of Famers, national champions, and those who have transformed the sport. And through it all, we've done it our way, not like anyone else, because we don't aspire to be like everyone else. So let others preach it, because we epitomize it. And on game day, you'll learn what Georgia Tech toughness is all about.
Stream Georgia Tech totally free on the Extra 106.3 app. Available now for Apple and Android. And listen to the Jackets anywhere. You're locked into Georgia Tech football. Driven by Hyundai. Now back to the voice of the Jackets, Andy Demetra.
Passionate fans and an ice-cold Coca-Cola. Now that's a winning combo. Fan work is thirsty work. Enjoy Coca-Cola. Home opener for your Yellow Jackets on an overcast day. Rain intruded a little bit. Had a 33-minute weather delay before kickoff, but scoreboard looks good. 42-6. Tech over Gardner-Webb. Let's go down to the sidelines of Chris Mooneyham. Chris.
Guys, as this lead has started to balloon for Georgia Tech now in this second half, we're starting to see some of the guys from the summer circuit who came in this highly touted recruiting class. Not all of them, but a few of them. Remember that in came offensive linemen Josh Petty and Peyton Joseph, Kristen Garrett and Andre Fuller on the defensive line, Tay Harris, Jaden Barr in the secondary, J.P. Powell at running back. All these men received at least a 4-star rating from one of the big recruiting services. Look, will they all become stars? Who knows? Will any of them even become starters? The reason I bring it up is more about the reality of Brent Key's staff landing 6 to 8 4-star recruits in a single cycle. The perception/reality of the program's rising tide. Gentlemen, right now, Georgia Tech is becoming a hot commodity on the recruiting circuit.
Yeah, and reaping the benefits of those recruiting efforts, and we've seen some of the youngsters make their contributions. With Christian Garrett, Amontre Bradford, still a young guy. Andre Fuller got the start at defensive end. As a true freshman in the opener, we have yet to see A.J. Hoffler so far. We hope that he can return for the Clemson game, his former school. And, this is a good opportunity for those guys to get reps in because you never know when you may need to dip into that depth, Andrew, as this season unfolds.
Well, that's true, Andy. And you want to get a real look is what you thought in recruiting real. Now, you get them in practice, but the real game day lights are another thing. And the Georgia Tech recruiting momentum is real, and it's great to see some of these young guys out here. And for the young players around the state of Georgia and the country to see, what happens when a talented young player comes to Georgia Tech. You'll have an opportunity to play and show that you deserve a chance to be on the field.
Well, flip sides for this final quarter. 1st and 10, Gardner-Webb at the Georgia Tech 29. Pennington has taken over most of the snaps in the second half. 9 of 13 for 111 yards. Tight end crouching down as the left H-back. Now crabs over and settles. Snap to Pennington. RPO on the out. A little behind his intended target, but nice catch on the redirection by Lowe, and he tiptoes out at the 23 for a gain of 5.
They continue to try to go to Lowe, and he continues to help his quarterbacks out by making difficult catches.
Pennington played in 3 games last year for Marshall. Actually started 3 games as a redshirt freshman, including in the Thundering Herds bowl games. 2 receivers between the numbers and sideline on the right. Again, off play action. Throws the slant. It's joggled, batted around, and finally drops incomplete. It was Zachary Toby who got the pass breakup. The junior from McCoy, Florida, to force 3rd and 4.
Yeah, Pennington brings that ball out high, and Toby does a great job when the receiver's in that situation. You just have to attack his arms. Really gives you an opportunity to even make an interception there, but got to take advantage when the quarterback doesn't put the ball on the money.
Pennington clasps his hands over his ear holes to get the play radioed in. Holmes is back in. He's parked at his left hip. Trips right, a receiver left. 3rd and 4 from the 22. Orbit motion now from Adopte, the wide receiver. The snap to Pennington. Looking left. Now checks down to Adopte at the 20, but he gets sawed in half. Oh, he slips the tackle at the 20, but now the Jackets pursue him and drop him shy of the first down right at the 20. Giovanni Adopte, the 6'1 redshirt sophomore from Miami, Florida. It was Melvin Jordan who just couldn't clamp onto him. Kiker able to finish him off, and it's 4th down and 1. So 4th down and 1. Gardner-Webb, of course, going to go for it in our first minute of the 4th quarter. They're 1 and 2 on 4th down today. Holmes will be the featured back. He's the sidecar for Pennington. Stack receivers each way. Georgia Tech stems. Oh, and somebody just fired off into the neutral zone early, and that was after Pennington was about to reset the play. That was DJ Moore flying in for the offsides, and that'll be a first down.
And the young Moore just a little too hyped up, a little too aggressive there. Gardner-Webb clearly trying to mess with the snap count. I don't even think they had a play in yet.
I don't think so either.
I think they were going, they had already clapped once. I think they were kind of going double clap, and then we're going to check to a play. And, you know, young guys got to learn. Sometimes you got to learn the hard way.
Yeah, this discipline really has to grind the gears of Brent Key. So 1st and 10 now at the Tech 14. 2 receivers in the tight end left. 1 receiver split right as Holmes motions into the backfield. Pennington to the air. Floats it over the middle into the end zone, and it's caught. Caleb Borders. It's a bit of a wounded duck, but he knew exactly where he wanted to go with it. And Caleb Borders, the grad student, able to haul that in at the top of the R in Georgia Tech for the touchdown. And it's 42-12 Tech.
And as Georgia Tech plays some of its younger players in the secondary, Pennington able to take advantage and just drop that post route in between the corner and the safety.
5th career touchdown reception for Borders, who was a former walkout at Gardner-Webb. Gardner-Webb missed its other extra point, and the second one is blocked. Kiker scoops it up. He peels out with it down the left sideline. He picks up a block. He may take this in for a 2-point conversion to the 35-30. Kiker to the 20, 15, 10, 5, and Georgia Tech gets the conversion. The first defensive extra point scored since Wanye Thomas in 2021 versus Miami of Florida on another blocked extra point.
And the Georgia Tech special teams making all kinds of history today. Heads up play by Kiker. Really, talk about the effort it takes to go 100-plus yards on that return. Way to wrestle something back after kind of a rough drive by that Georgia Tech defense, but well played, heads up by Kiker, and just good job by the Georgia Tech field goal block team. I mean, getting 2 in a game, that's not all the time.
All he had to do was outrun the big guys up front, and Kiker had plenty of speed for that. So a blocked extra point run all the way back by Kiker for the defensive 2-point conversion, and it's now 44-12 Tech. And so Gardner-Webb only able to get 5 points off that deficit when it's all said and done. Wait, they call him try unsuccessful now. Wait a second. Crowd howling in disbelief. They called an inadvertent whistle and wipe out the defensive 2-point conversion. It is still 42-12, and that will have Brent Key having kittens down there on the sideline. We'll take a timeout as the crowd continues to roar its displeasure. They'll still get credit for the blocked extra point, but they will not get the defensive 2-point conversion. And it's 42-12. Tech on top with 13:39 to go. We're back after this on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
September is Fan Appreciation Month at Truist Park, and you don't want to miss out on the fun coming up. The Washington Nationals Battle Your Braves, September 22nd through the 24th, presented by OnX Hunt. On September 22nd, the first 15,000 fans in attendance will receive a Ronald Acuna Jr. red carpet bobblehead presented by Truist. And then on September 23rd, it's Los Bravos Night, powered by Georgia Power. Make sure to arrive early to enjoy a live salsa band and dancing, an on-field presentation recognizing Hispanic players and coaches and so much more fun. Tickets start at just $7. And the 2025 regular season concludes with the Pittsburgh Pirates in town, September 26th through the 28th. The weekend includes a Kids Club Appreciation Party on Sunday featuring free face painting, special appearances, and so much more. Visit Braves.com/promos to find all the details and to purchase your tickets. Atlanta Braves Baseball. We are Braves Country.
Go Jackets! Hey, it's Los. Join Tug and I every weekday morning 6 to 10 on the Morning Extra, right here on Extra 106.3 and the Extra 106.3 app.
This is Yellow Jackets football, driven by Hyundai on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
Officially goes as a 7-play, 75-yard touchdown drive for Gardner-Webb. Pennington connecting it with Caleb Borders on a 14-yard reception. Extra point was blocked, and we thought there was a defensive two-point conversion on the run back by Will Kiker, but it was wiped out by an inadvertent whistle. And we're still scratching our heads at why any of the officials saw fit to blow their whistle, because Kiker caught that deflected extra point attempt on the fly. It's not like the ball just fish hooked dead in the end zone. And so at no point should they have ever blown the whistle, and we hate to be that crew in a game that's 42-12, but that's just a brutal inadvertent whistle.
It's just frustrating when you make a mistake that can't be taken back on any level, and it just straight up cost Georgia Tech 2 points, because I did not see a single player down there not chase the play. They all kept playing. But, I guess they blew the whistle. I can't hear that from up here, not on that play. And it's just really frustrating when a mistake like that costs a team points, even though ultimately it shouldn't affect the outcome of this football game.
Right, you feel worse for Will Kiker because he ran that back. Shynbeek Jones got the block, a sky kick on the ensuing kickoff. Hangs up high and short for a Harping, catches at the 30, and gets upended at the 39. Georgia Tech was wary of a potential sky kick. That's why they had Luke Harping on the second line as the Georgia Tech crowd continues to hurl invective and heap scorn. Whichever of our officials blew that inadvertent whistle.
They're going to exercise their First Amendment rights to express their displeasure for the officiating crew.
So back comes the Georgia Tech offense. Aaron Fano is 19 of 25 for 253, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Dalen Gordon will be his pistol back. Good to see the redshirt senior from Eastman, Georgia, get on the field. Had 2 carries for 5 yards versus VMI last year off the play fake. Fano airs it out on the deep over route for Canyon. Makes the adjustment and the catch at the 20 and gets spun out of bounds at the 20. So that's a flashback. That was the first play of the game. It went for an incompletion that time. Canyon able to run underneath that for a first down.
Georgia Tech felt so good about it. They came back to it this time with Canyon instead of Eric Rivers. Doesn't put too much on it, Philo, and Canyon able to make a great big reception.
The snap, inside handoff, Gordon jukes to his right and gets thrown down to the 17 for a gain of 3. Third career carry for the redshirt senior Dalen Gordon. Played at Dodge County High School. He comes out, and J.P. Powell comes in, the true freshman. He'll be holstered behind Philo in the pistol with a slot right. And the freshman Jordan Allen. 2nd down and 6 from the Gardner-Webb 16. Stretch zone Powell counters up the middle as he started off left and then broke up field to the 13 for a gain of 3. It'll be 3rd and 3.
Nice little cutback read by J.P. Powell on that play. Good 2nd down play. Brings up 3rd and 3. This Georgia Tech offense giving opportunity to some of these young running backs. I think we may have seen the last of Jamal Haynes and Malachi Hosley for the day.
Georgia Tech is just 2 of 6 on 3rd downs, but their conversions were on a 3rd and 12 and a 3rd and 15. 3 receivers trying along the numbers left. Inside give and trying to bounce it right is Powell, but he gets knifed down at the line, but a lost a half yard. It's 4th down. And it looks like the field goal unit will come on. Yep, see Aiden Burr getting a practice swing in all the way over on the opposite side of the 50. Burr 2 for 2 in field goals versus Colorado, a 32-yarder and a 43. This will be set up dead center at a distance of 32 yards. Aiming from right to left out of Marshall Nichols' hold. 42-12 Tech with 11:42 to go. Snap back, set down. Flag is thrown, and it is drilled good by Burr. Maybe somebody fired off early for Gardner-Webb on a 4th and 5.
This would be a big penalty.
Unless there was an inadvertent whistle again.
Possibly. Cancels out everything.
Now it's a false start on Georgia Tech. Oh, defense. Man lined up over the center. So Aiden Burr will not get credit for his third field goal of the season. Georgia Tech will take the 5-yard penalty and get a first and goal as they inch it up to the 9.5.
As much as Aiden Burr is frustrated to have his 3 points taken away, I'm sure he will happily let the offense have another opportunity for a touchdown and killing some more of this clock.
Shane Marshall will now come in. He'll be the standing tail alongside Philo. Taylor a slot to the right, double tight end left. First and goal from the 9. The swivel, the read, and the give to Marshall as he bangs his way straight ahead to the 7. Give him 3 on his first carry as a Yellow Jacket. We've yet to see Trey Maddox come in.
Good hard running by Marshall. Also got some younger offensive linemen out there as well. We got Riggs in at right tackle.
Crouch down. Still see Ethan McKinney lining up at left tackle. Maybe we see Josh Penny get some reps as well. Hosley part of a trip set right. Play fake. Scrambling up the middle goes Philo. He spun around at the 5. Falls backwards at the 4.
And the smart decision by Philo to just get what he could get on that play. His first read was covered. The pocket was collapsing. He just made a positive play instead of taking the tackle for loss. Brings up a much more makeable third and goal from the 5.
By the way, don't want to bury the lead. The reason why we haven't seen Trey Maddox is because he does have his foot in a boot, so he's not dressed out today. Marshall flexes out. Empty set for Philo in front of third and goal from the 5. Ball on the left hash. Staggered stance for the redshirt freshman. He waves Marshall in motion, fakes the sweep. He's pressured, tries to dump it off as he was wrapped up, and it falls incomplete. He was looking for J.T. Byrne leaking out of the backfield, but that pocket collapsed on him quickly. Justin Eisler, the Appalachian State transfer, with the pressure, and Georgia Tech unable to convert on the first and goal. So another field goal try upcoming for Byrne.
Yeah, Georgia Tech was trying to run the fake jet sweep action on the motion and drop the ball back off to Byrne, but the motion brought a defender with it. Instead of him following, he just came in pressure off the edge. Philo not able to get it out with the pressure.
Lining up is a 23-yard field goal try from Burr. It's set down for him just inside the left hash. Tries to kick this out of Bobby Dodd Stadium, and it's good. So Aiden Burr does get his third field goal after all. Georgia Tech would have clearly preferred 7 and executing better inside the red zone as Brent Key watches on with arms folded on the near sideline. 10-19 to go in this one. Tech stretches the lead to 45-12. We're back after this in the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
Moving can be stressful, but not with Page Relocation, the official mover of Georgia Tech Athletics. Whether you're heading off campus, across Georgia, or across the country, our team makes it simple and done right. Page Relocation. From the flats to anywhere, your simplest move ever. Visit pagerelocation.com to get your free quote today and see why Georgia Tech Athletics moves with Page.
What's the best kind of money? Well, how about instant money? With Quick Win's Instant 50 promotion, you can win a progressive jackpot instantly and win $50 instantly just for playing. Now through September 14th, there will be 2,000 instant winners a week. Look for the prize alert on your ticket and listen for this sound.
You're a winner!
That means you won $50 on the spot. It all ends September 14th, so hurry and play Quick Win from the Georgia Lottery. Play responsibly.
Hey, you're listening to Georgia Tech football at Extra 106.3. Don't forget this guy, the Kimmer, he's back. Oh, no, raising holy snarkies every day on 106.3.
The field is buzzing. Now more Georgia Tech football, driven by Hyundai on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
45-12, Tech leads Gardner-Webb. Let's pause 10 seconds so our stations can identify themselves. This is Georgia Tech football.
Yellow Jackets football is on now. WFOM and W292EV Marietta, a Dickey Broadcasting Station, Extra 106.3.
Georgia Tech has accomplished something, Andrew Gardner, that they have not done in 48 years. And that is block 2 PATs in the same game. The last time a Georgia Tech opponent missed 2-point-after attempts in the same game was November 5th, 1977 versus Notre Dame. Now, journalistic integrity compels me to tell you that Tech lost that game 69-14, so I don't think those missed point afters cost the Fighting Irish much, but still, that's not something you've seen since the late 70s. I know somebody in our booth who was there for that game, the legendary Al Serraldo Jr.
He's probably a little happier today than he was that day.
He does give a thumbs up, I'm sure, to the fact he was in attendance, not to the score.
Oh, I doubt highly. Well, I'm glad that we're able to, in the record books, put that feat under a much happier memory than that 1977 game versus Notre Dame.
We also saw the last block field goal that was returned for a Georgia Tech touchdown since the miracle on Techwood in 2015. 45-12, Yellow Jackets lead. As the kickoff is booted away from right to left by Burr. Once again, tracing an arc towards the back line for a touchback. Now, Georgia Tech getting out of this what it wanted. Able to play a lot of their younger guys, preserve some staffs for the guys that they will want at full strength next Saturday at noon when Tommy's Leather versus the Clemson Tigers, who are in an absolute fight for their lives against the Troy Trojans. They trail 16-3 in the opening minutes of the third quarter in Death Valley.
Well, whether they right that ship or not, you can guarantee Georgia Tech is going to get everything Clemson has when they come in next Saturday. So Georgia Tech needs to finish this game out strong, and some of these young players need to grow up and grow from this opportunity right here against Gardner-Webb.
Christian Pritchett is now in at one safety alongside the freshman Tay Harris. And an inside handoff to Moyer, who shoots ahead to the 29 for a gain of not 4. Daniel Moyer wearing number 8 on the back of that white uniform. Tackle is by Jason Moore. Jason Moore, by the way, the redshirt senior. I have one note on him. Should definitely up your impressive level on Moore. Off a play fake. Pennington retreats, lost it down the seam, and it is caught on the post at the Georgia Tech 42. Boy, he feathered that in. The catch made by Sean Brady. He took a hit but hung on, and Gardner-Webb is inside Tech territory. Jason Moore is working on his 3rd degree at Georgia Tech. His BA in Business Administration, earned a Master's in Analytics, and now working on his Master's in Economics, Andrew. That ain't bad.
Not at all.
1st and 10 from the Tech 42. A pull read by Pennington. He's met at the edge, spun around, and dropped for a loss of 2. It was Andre Fuller, not baited on that long mesh. And the true freshman from Gayson High, able to get his 2nd TFL in as many weeks.
That was a really well-played football play by Andre Fuller. Just sort of slides down the line on the read option, keeps his eyes on the mesh, and when the quarterback pulls it, he gets him in a tackle for loss. You know, not the first heady play I've seen from that young defensive lineman.
That is a 12th TFL turned in by the Georgia Tech defense. Trips right in front of 2nd and 12. The snap to Pennington. Again, links on the mesh with Moyer. And he tries to burrow his way ahead. He gets past the original line of scrimmage to the 41. Just a gain of 3. 3rd down and 9 for Gardner-Webb. Tajay Butler slowed him up. Jackets lead 45-12 with 8:35 and ticking in our 4th quarter.
The Georgia Tech defensive front doing a good job holding up the offensive line from Gardner-Webb. And Pennington seems to be a little limped up from the hit from Fuller. So I don't think he's going to be as much of a threat with his legs if he decides to run on this play.
Gardner-Webb has had an 8-minute advantage in time of possession. He splits 2 receivers right, 1 left. Pulls the mesh. Hit as he throws it. Looping down the right sideline. Incomplete. It was a bit of an underthrow. Brady tried to break back toward the numbers on Kiker, who was in good coverage. Jordan Boyd got the pressure, and it's 4th and 9.
But I think the pressure from Boyd affected that throw, didn't allow Pennington to get as much into it as he wanted. A little underthrown, the receiver unable to come back to it. There was an opportunity, but again, the defensive front for Georgia Tech applying pressure, affecting the Gardner-Webb quarterbacks, really played well up front all day.
So the punting unit comes on, even though Gardner-Webb is in plus territory. Jackson Dorr is kind of their short punter. You rarely see teams platoon punters and have a short punter and a deep punter. Stutter steps a bit. Didn't get a great grip as he put the nose of the ball down, but hangs this high towards Bailey Stockton, who fumbles it. Ball is rolling loose. Tries to dive for it at the 15, and I think he got it in time. That ball just bounced right off the chest of Bailey Stockton. And even though there were 2 running Bulldogs in the vicinity, he was able to dive on it to prevent disaster. And Georgia Tech does recover.
With the normally sure-handed Stockton struggling with that backspin high kick. just not able to get it securely, but hats off to the heads-up play, able to jump in, kind of sacrifice the body to turn on it and keep that ball.
Well, you will gladly sacrifice your body to spare yourself the embarrassment of a muffed punt return. 7:57 to go as we've hit timeout in Atlanta. Georgia Tech 45, Gardner-Webb 12. We're back after this on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
At Kroger, you never compromise. You get high quality and low prices. Like you never compromise your meal with our spring salad mix, guaranteed fresh. And you never compromise your budget with lower prices on over 1,000 items. And you never compromise your appetite with our golden brown bread that's baked fresh in store. And you never compromise your wallet with our lower prices. Hand it to Kroger shoppers. You never compromise. Kroger. Fresh.
Renaissance Rewards Extra is the checking account that checks all the boxes. Roadside assistance? Check. Cell phone insurance? Check. More than 400,000 local shopping discounts? Check. Up to $25 per month in ATM refunds and a great rate? Check. All in an easy-to-use mobile app. To open an account or find out more about Renaissance Rewards Extra checking, go to renaissancebank.com or visit us at any of our more than 190 locations throughout the South. Renaissance Bank. Understanding you. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Stream Georgia Tech totally free on the Extra 106.3 app. Available now for Apple and Android. And listen to the Jackets anywhere.
The Jackets are on the field. It's Georgia Tech football on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
With 7:57 remaining fourth quarter, Georgia Tech 45, Gardner-Webb 12. Georgia Tech set to extend its home win streak to 6 games. They ran the table last year at Bobby Dodd Stadium, a Hyundai Field for the first time since Brent Key's playing days in 1998. A muffed punt, but it was recovered by the man who muffed it, Bailey Stockton, and Tech takes over at its own 14-yard line. They trailed 6-0, and their first 2 series both ended in turnovers. A lost fumble by Aaron Fano. We have not seen Haynes King today. He was a game-time decision. They're being cautious with what was deemed to us a nagging lower body injury, but Fano 20 of 27. He shook off an interception on the second series, and he's gone 20 of 27 for 295 and 1 touchdown. Also, Malachi Hosley, 9 carries, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jamal Haynes, 9 carries for 92 and 2 touchdowns. Tech is averaging 8.3 yards a rush, while Malik Rutherford is the top pass catcher, 5 for 62. By the way, the last QB hurry was from Jordan Boyd. I feel like Linda Richmond in the old Saturday Night Live Coffee Talk skits. He's from Beach Island, South Carolina. Beach Island has neither a beach nor is it an island. It's in landlocked Aiken County, South Carolina. It's beach with 2 E's after the tree. Now, why they called it an island when there is no coastline to be found, who knows? Trips left, man in motion. The clap and the snap. And a quick whip to the left. Catch made by Allen. Makes one man miss at the 20, 25, breaking away 40, sprinting past the 50, 40, 35, 30. One man to beat. Yanks him down from behind at the 10-yard line. Jordan Allen took the slip screen, and he nearly took it to the house as they mark him down at the 8-yard line.
And the slip screens have been effective all day, but Georgia Tech hasn't been able to break a big one until then. Great job by the young receiver just getting loose. I mean, huge play. It's been that close all day, and finally they break one for a huge explosive play. Jordan
Allen's first career catch as a Yellow Jacket goes for 78 yards. Freshman from Lawrenceville. Brought to Buford High. Brinke even said he's real fast. 3 receivers clustered on the near side left. Sider in motion. Handoff up the gut to Marshall at the 5. Knocked down hard at the 1. Boy, he took a lick. That was Powell, beg your pardon. Stopped at the half-yard line, but his second and goal. Hit that hole hard, but got hit hard.
And they got this young offensive line, and they've gone to the backups in this situation in 2 opportunities, a well-blocked run play and a well-blocked slip screen. Good to see this young O-line depth showing out in their opportunity in this game.
And that includes the 5-star left tackle, Josh Petty, number 21 nationally by 247. He's got some company on that left side, double tight end. As they go with the broken eye right, Marshall and Powell are the backs. Fano crouches under center, puts it in the belly of Powell, trying to burrow behind right guard, and he is in. Touchdown, Jackets.
Georgia Tech coming back to the strong offset eye again. They've handed it to the fullback. They've handed it to the halfback, and it's been effective every single time. Good to see these young players having some fun and having some success on that field.
Well, Powell was denied the touchdown on the last carry, but they go right back to him as he muscles his way in for the score. His first is the Yellow Jacket. 6:21 to go. It's 51-12 Tech. As Burr swings his right leg through the extra point, it is good. And I think what's as encouraging for Georgia Tech is not only did they gash Gardner-Webb for 86 yards on 3 plays, but they got solid perimeter blocking by some young guys. Jordan Allen with that 78-yard slip screen almost took it all the way. And then good blocking by some of those youngsters to pave the way for J.P. Powell. Nearly punched it in on a 7-yard gain, but then 1 play later took it on that inside handoff off the offset eye. And Tech is up past half 100.
Well, the young players are your future, and sometimes they're your not-so-distant future, depending on what happens. So it's huge to have those guys come in, execute the plays against a real team. I mean, they looked good. If I hadn't told the people listening, they would have just assumed the first offense was still out there, the way they were executing. Really well done by those backups and young players. And, again, just good to see them go out there and do it in a real game.
Did you just invoke the great Randy Watson? You believe the children are our future? Teach them well and let them lead the way? Coming to America? Did I just hear correctly?
That boy's good.
He is good.
He's good.
So is J.P. Powell. 6:21 to go. We invite you to stick around for the Ramblin' Wreck post-game show. Chris Mooneyham will visit with head coach Brent Key and our players of the game. Another kickoff from Burr from right to left. A little bit of a wobbler, but it gets the job done. 8 yards deep in the end zone for the touchback. Pushes Georgia Tech to 596 yards of offense. And Aaron Final, all of a sudden, 78 yards on what began as a horizontal pass to Jordan Allen. But that's 78 more yards to Filo's tally. He's got 373 passing yards, Andrew Gardner.
That is an impressive stat line for a guy that honestly started poorly. I mean, it's like the passing version of what Haynes King did. He started not well at the beginning of the game, but again, it's encouraging to see him shake that off and have a huge day through the air.
That comes the running Bulldogs offense. 3 receivers right, 1 left. On 1st and 10, a high snap. It's handled out of the shotgun by Pennington. And a run off the left side for 1 to Moyer. So Elgin Sessions at 1 cornerback. The freshman. Amontre Bradford and Christian Garrett combined on the stop. Inside of 6 minutes now. 4th quarter from Bobby Dodd Stadium. Pennington gearing down the tempo, as you would expect. Played 7 games at Marshall, his dad's alma mater. Played 11 years in the NFL. Chad Pennington, of course, he was 2-time NFL completion percentage leader. Another handoff and breaking up the left side goes Moyer. He is stuffed after a pickup of 2 to the 28. Tackled by Bradford, who's had a couple of sacks to his tally today. And it sets up 3rd down.
Bradford has had a great game today. Great run stop there, a couple of sacks. Good to see that defensive line depth, those defensive line players, success across the board from multiple guys.
This is still without the services of A.J. Hoffler, who I think by prevailing belief would have been a starting defensive end. The junior transfer from Clemson, and may we see him against his former school next Saturday. 3rd down and 7 from the Gardner-Webb 28. A slot right on the wide side for Pennington. He measures up a 4-man front. Takes the high snap. Lost it down the left sideline. Bodies are clinched up on that side, and the penalty flag is thrown.
Flag on the play. Bradford a step away again. A step away from his 3rd sack of the day.
That's Dalen Penson doing some hand fighting there with the intended target, Sean Brady. One of those prize freshman signees, but he will begin his account with a pass interference. And Brent Key is motioning. He thought that pass was deflected and that it should be reviewed. See if his pleas go heard here as they march it up 15 yards for a 1st down to the 33. By the way, Aaron Filo's 373 passing yards Would you believe it? It's the most by a Jacket since George Godsey had his school record 486 versus Virginia, November 10, 2001.
That's a long time, but there's been a lot of run-based Georgia Tech offenses since then.
Play action, deep shot down the right sideline. Brady in traffic, cannot secure the catch, incomplete. Tried to barrel roll, but could not squeeze it down at the Georgia Tech 30. Tay Harris flying over from safety may have delivered the shot that lodged that ball loose.
That's a good ball by Pennington, dropping it in there. The Gardner-Webb receiver just not able to survive the ground. Good job by the Georgia Tech secondary, delivering a blow, making it difficult on him. You know, when you're a defensive back, it's not always clean. Sometimes it's that effort through the end of the play that leads to success in coverage.
So it brings up 2nd and 10, 4:54 in the fourth quarter. Tech leads it 52-12. Twins right, a receiver left. They clap the snap to Pennington. And he hands off, busting off the left side across the 35 to the 37, a gain of 4. As the run goes to Christian Van, sophomore from Charlotte, who did not have a rush last week. Third down and 6. Boy, this is already a 17th third down play by Gardner-Webb. They're just 4 of 16 on third down.
Georgia Tech has been great on third down in this game. Even forced multiple fourth down situations. It's been a good down for the defense. Hopefully they can come up big one more time, give that young offense a chance to possess the ball again.
Van once again at Betway Station beside Pennington, trips to his right. Throws the bubble screen, is caught by Brady, tries to break it back inside, but he's chopped down at the 38, only picks up 1. Good job by Kiker to leverage Brady back inside, and then was cleaned up by Christian Pritchett. Fourth down, and Gardner-Webb will keep the offense on.
Nice play by Kiker on the edge, holding outside leverage, just standing up the receiver that's blocking him, forcing that ball back inside. And once the swing screen receiver commits inside, able to come off and play. That's technically a well-coached play. Really nice job by Kiker, fundamentally sound.
Fourth down and 5. Offense is not yet in formation. I see Chris Ricer, Gardner-Webb head coach, with hands on hips, standing beside the line judge. Play clock is at 2 and 1, and he bangs his first time out of the half. 52-12, Georgia Tech on top. We had 3:22 remaining in our fourth quarter. And we'll see if that causes him to reconsider and bring the special teams on. So, yeah, Aaron Philo, I mean, you know, when it's all said and done, 21 of 28 for 373. Those passing yards by a Georgia Tech quarterback in a game in 24 years, I would say, you know, shook off that adversity early quite well.
Yeah, I think you could say that with confidence, Andy. You could say that with your chest. I mean, again, it's a growing situation. You know, nobody wanted to see that. I didn't want to see that. No one listening wanted to hear about it. None of these students wanted to see those mistakes early. But if you grow from it, it's good.
So the punting unit comes back on, and that's Brady Braun. And, boy, what a silhouette he cuts. He wears number 99. He's got that jersey untucked. He's got the left pant leg rolled all the way down, and that right football pant leg is rolled up about as high as anybody I've ever seen. I mean, that is halfway up the thigh. 2 protectors in front of him, and sends it spiraling away towards Stockton, who muffed the last attempt. He now makes a fair catch at the 16. I mean, even Al Serraldo has the binoculars on Braun.
He's got to see it close. It allows you to cut through the wind.
He is showing the thigh meat today, my friend. Wow. You know, and they're supposed to enforce that, right? That, like, you know, not that referees like to play fashion police, and it's so rarely enforced, but you see a lot of players these days rolling their pant legs above the knees, but I've never seen one that high.
I just assumed that was no longer on the books, the way the uniform.
He is almost daring the referees to toss the flag with that look. Graham Knowles now comes in at quarterback with Dalen Gordon motioning out of the backfield. As he sidearms it in the left flat. Great block to spring loose Patterson down the sideline, 35-40, sprinting past the 50. He's pursued at the 30. Oh, he brushes off a tackle at the 10, 5, and he's all the way in for the touchdown.
And there was a huge block by freshman tackle Josh Petty. Just pancakes the man in space and allows Patterson to run all the way for a touchdown. You have to know, if you're Gardner-Webb, the little slip screen like that's coming again. It's the same play they ran on the last drive.
That was a crushing block, like you said, by Petty. And Graham Knowles, the redshirt freshman, his first career attempt as a Yellow Jacket is an 84-yard touchdown. And it makes it 58-12 Tech with 3:03 to go.
Joining my ex-teammate Taylor Bennett as a Georgia Tech quarterback with a touchdown pass on his first pass ever.
I think Graham Knowles might have him in yardage. Extra point is good from Bird. 3:03 to play. But think about the last two tunnel screens that Georgia Tech threw. 78 yards to Jordan Allen, and then now 84 yards to Dean Patterson from Graham Knowles, the redshirt freshman from South Lake Carroll High in Texas. And Tech continues to pour it on.
Well, when you run your offense, I mean, they're just executing their offense. You know, they're not airing it out. They didn't throw that ball, play action 70, 80 yards downfield. They just throw a little slip screen, and it's out the gate. Well thrown, on the money by Graham Knowles. Great blocking on the edge. Great blocking by Josh Petty. And that's another touchdown for Georgia Tech.
And that just shows you the agility of Josh Petty, who's still got some room to fill out. He's 6'6", 285, but such quick feet to get out and pancake the man to spring Dean Patterson for the score. 84 yards is the longest touchdown completion by a Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket since 2009. That was Joshua Nesbitt to Embry Peoples against Vanderbilt on Halloween 2009. I'm wearing out the media guy this second half, partner. As the kickoff sails away, that was not Aiden Burr. That was Landon Schaefer on the kickoff. It's short and taken out up the right hash across the 20. And plunging ahead to the 26. Kiker with the stop.
Kiker filling up his stat sheet today.
Still is going to plead his case for that defensive two-point conversion, but for the inadvertent whistle.
Listen, in my opinion, the score right now is 61-12. You heard it here, Will Kiker. It's 61-12, not 59-12.
If ever a 59-12 game merits an asterisk, evidently Andrew Gardner will lobby for one.
It's this one.
I see Carrington Coombs, the true freshman, comes on as part of a four-man defensive line. And Brinke getting a lot of action, a lot of snaps here in the second half for his freshman. The handoff and a jump cut left for Moyer. He tries to swat away a tackle, but he is strung out and dragged down all the way back at the 23 by a half dozen Yellow Jackets. I think Kelvin Hill laid the wood on him to bring him down, but he had company. Loss of 4 makes it second down and 14.
It's just like pursuit drill in practice. You string the ball out, and then everybody rallies to the tackle. Well done by the Georgia Tech defense.
As they continue to ring up the TFLs, that is a 14th of the day. So we come up on 2:20 in the fourth quarter, 59-12, Georgia Tech. Pennington stays on as the signal caller. A quarter turn, the handoff to Moyer, hunting for room up the middle. He squeezes ahead for maybe one. Forward progress will give him the 24. And late pushing and shoving there at the end of the play as Moyer never went down. That'll take us to the 2-minute timeout with 1:58 to go. And Georgia Tech up comfortably 59-12. Blake Beelan with the tackle. Another true freshman in on the action. We'll be back to wrap this up after this on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
It's Dari from R.S. Andrews. And people always ask, what's the R.S. and R.S. Andrews stand for? R.S. means rapid service. I know what it's like waiting for a repair guy to show up, so I made sure when you call us, we have somebody ready to jump to action. Rapid service. Your AC needs to keep working for several more weeks. So if you're hearing a clunk, clank, or smelling some stank, we're ready to help. R.S. means rapid service. Schedule at rsandrews.com.
Renaissance Rewards Extra is the checking account that checks all the boxes. Roadside assistance? Check. Cell phone insurance? Check. More than 400,000 local shopping discounts? Check. Up to $25 per month in ATM refunds and a great rate? Check. All in an easy-to-use mobile app. To open an account or find out more about Renaissance Rewards Extra Checking, go to renaissancebank.com or visit us at any of our more than 190 locations throughout the South. Renaissance Bank. Understanding you. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Hey, it's Pete Davis. Glad you're here for Georgia Tech football on Extra 106.3. We'll see you weekdays at 3 o'clock sharp.
Now back to the field for more Georgia Tech football, driven by Hyundai on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.
Yellow Jackets will look to continue cleaning up the early turnovers and the persistent penalties, but 59-12, getting the job done today over Gardner-Webb with 2 even to go in the fourth quarter. We're back with you Saturday on the Flats. Next week, 12 o'clock, high noon, Tome East Leather, and a highly anticipated matchup with the Clemson Tigers, who have pulled ahead of Troy 20-16 with inside of 6 minutes to go in the third quarter. They were down 16-3 at half. Justin Hanover will have our full check of the scores. ACC and Top 25 in the Ramblin' Wreck postgame show. We'll dispatch Chris Mooneyham inside the locker room to catch up with head coach Brent Key and our players of the game. Georgia Tech's lone touchdown in the 2008 matchup with Gardner-Webb was a 78-yard touchdown, 79-yard touchdown run, beg your pardon, Calvin Booker to Jonathan Dwyer. Georgia Tech's last play was an 84-yard strike on a tunnel screen from Graham Knowles on his first ever passing attempt as a Yellow Jacket to the FIU transfer Dean Patterson.
Yeah,
Chris Winke's nickname, by the way, for Graham Knowles is the Bohemian. I think he means the Bahamian because his mom, and dad, his mom was a model. His dad played tennis representing the Bahamas. But yet Chris calls him the Bohemian, which is a region in the former Czech Republic. I know because my maternal grandmother grew up in Bohemia. So why not just call him the Bohemian Bahamian? Slashing off the right side goes Van, slips a tackle from behind across the 30, and digs ahead to the 35 for a gain of 8.
And Georgia Tech with another stop on third down. To answer your question, I don't know. Yeah, can we get
like the Bohemian Bahamian?
I do like that. I do like that nickname.
He might be one of the tallest quarterbacks ever to suit up for Tech. He's every bit of 6'7", like he's listed.
You got to get Chris Winke in next week to interview him and make your pitch for that nickname.
Well, I did just toss that out there when I saw him in the hotel in Boulder. I think he was still marinating with it.
That's probably true.
But we'll see.
He loved it. He's hard to read.
4th down and 2. Offense stays on for Gardner-Webb. Shotgun one back. And some motion up front. Flag is tossed. It's a free play. And on the back shoulder toss down the right sideline is incomplete.
I don't think anyone actually broke the plane. I mean, I know this line judge thinks that. I don't think anyone actually ever crossed the football. It's not because they moved doesn't mean they're in the neutral zone. I mean, it doesn't matter. What he says goes.
It'll be Tajay Butler whistled for the offside. And again, it doesn't matter the time scorer situation. Brent Key still wants to see discipline in leverage circumstances like that. And we saw, Georgia Tech on a field goal attempt get called for an offside. When you play an opponent that has a better leg, there's a difference between a 45-yard field goal and a 40. Off a jump cut left, here is Van. Escapes an ankle tackle, turns the corner, 45-50 into Georgia Tech territory. He's hammered out of bounds at the Yellow Jacket 46-yard line. It takes us to the 1-minute mark of this fourth quarter.
Yeah, if there's one gripe to make in an otherwise really fantastic game, it's the sloppiness, right? And the young guys have done some of it as well. And you got to grow from everything, and that gives Coach Key something to coach these guys on moving into next week.
4-man rush. Gardner-Webb keeps it on the ground. And hopscotching up the middle, Van gains 2 to the Georgia Tech 43, 53 seconds to go. Gardner-Webb has 2 timeouts at his disposal. Doesn't look like they'll use one. We're picked preseason 6th in the OVC Big South, but they scored the upset last weekend on the road versus FCS number 19, Western Carolina. A day where Georgia Tech has gained 680 yards. Most Georgia Tech will have in a game since their 712 versus Presbyterian in 2012. Bouncing out left, Van is snowed under. He loses one. Maybe one last TFL. Fuller and Marshall combine on the stop. We'll see where they spot it. And if that'll be a 15th TFL to close things out. 8 seconds remaining. And Brent Key and Chris Reiser will now jog to midfield. That'll do it as Georgia Tech takes care of business. Exerts its dominance on the home field. 8 months worth of wait for the Yellow Jackets as they open up the home schedule at Bobby Dodd Stadium, a Hyundai Field, with a resounding win, 59-12 over Gardner-Webb.
And Andy, the students and the fans showed up. They had fun. A little delay at the beginning, a little delay from the rain, a little delay from the Yellow Jackets. But once they got going, they were unstoppable. Great on offense, great on defense. Too sloppy for next week. But a win the way you need to beat an FCS opponent.
Well, they used some explosive plays, a 55-yard touchdown run by Malachi Hosley, a 47-yard touchdown run by Jamal Haynes, an 84-yard touchdown catch and run by Dean Patterson, and a 60-yard scoop and score off a blocked field goal by Amari Harvey. So chunk plays helping pave the way for Georgia Tech to move to 2-0 on the year. 59-12 is our final score today. Coming up, we'll set the table for a Ramblin' Wreck postgame show that begins after this on the Georgia Tech Sports Network.